What's up, everybody? WTF? Welcome to Funkatopia. I hope you're doing well. I'm your host, Mr. Christopher, and this is my co-host, Jeff Paige.
That is for a specific person who absolutely. What was her name again? I cannot remember. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to say it out loud. What was her name?
I think it was Shannon Dixon. I think it was
Shannon Dixon. This one's for you. In fact, she told me she loves it so much that anytime you guys see her, if you know her, and next time we get together, just give her a nice little front for me. I think that would be kind of awesome. That'd be kind of cool.
Oh my gosh. I haven't seen you in a minute.
Andre.
Yeah, I haven't seen you in a minute. Yeah, man. So we're back. Well, I've been back. Jeff Paige got back late last night. So I hope you guys tuned in last night. It was fantastic. This is the pre-show, by the way. If you've never watched this show, we're doing the pre-show right now, where we're going to just welcome folks and maybe talk about a couple pieces of news before we go right into the recap of the Prince Celebration 2024 at Paisley Park and State Theater and downtown Minneapolis and here, there, and everywhere. And we're going to kind of go over it. And I feel like we should preface this show with letting everybody know that Funkatopia is in no way endorsed or affiliated with the estate or Paisley Park.
Oh, right.
just in case things go sideways, I wanted to get that out there.
Yeah, today, this is going to be, our honest personal opinion, feedback based on what we experienced or based off of feedback that we've received from people that we're very candid about what happened or how they felt. That's it.
Yeah.
This is it. So it's just
we talked to a lot of people up there who had anyways, we'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah, we'll get into it.
Yeah, hello everybody. Christina, what's going on? Susan, and from Iowa, Krista, what's going on? Andre, welcome back. Heidi from Madison, Wisconsin. Tanya, Joni from North Carolina.
What's up, Lenny? Lenny DC.
New York City. That's totally different. Sue from Southern California. Greg Brown from Milwaukee. I thought we were getting into this rigmarole where I do one, you do one, but it's not working out that way.
It doesn't matter. We just run.
Jennifer Simon and all you. Yes, Arlene. Yes, the interview yesterday with Andrea Swenson and Dwayne Tudor was fantastic. It was a lot of fun. Learned some really unusual things about her recording style and her reporting. Just it's recording and reporting style. That was really interesting. I don't know if you guys listened last night, but when she recorded, I can't remember which podcast it was because she's the voice of the official Prince podcast. And in order for her to be, I guess, authentic, she decided that she was going to literally go to Prince's Kiowa Trail house, even though obviously Prince didn't own it. She talked to the new owners and she went there to record the podcast from there.
Wow.
Keeping in mind that this is not video, it's audio. So nobody knew that she was in Kiowa Trail.
Wow.
She just felt like she spiritually needed to be there in Kiowa Trail while she was recording some of this. It was just like, okay. So wow. I learned a lot about Andrea and her commitment to man, it's just it's pretty amazing.
That's serious business. I can appreciate that.
Yeah, it's just it's
that's that actor's thing, I got to be in my space. I need to feel that. So that's awesome. Yeah. Aphrodisiac.
Karen says you have on her shirt.
Yeah, I mean, it's your actual shirt. I slipped it out of your bag before I left.
I'm not going to ask. Arlene, it was good to meet you yesterday, too. Oh, I mean, yesterday, 2 days ago, it was good to meet you. Met you at Paisley Park. I was having a discussion, but thank you for coming in and saying hello. I appreciate it. I always love meeting folks for the first time if I don't ever see you guys for them, but
I actually appreciated that too. And the show where I actually said please don't have a
I,
hard time doing
I don't
that.
know what something's going on with your audio.
Blah 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 blah.
No, it was like all of a sudden an airplane flew overhead or something. It was weird.
That's weird. Well, the episode that we had where I was telling people to come up and say hello because I'm not really that good at doing that, even though I'll see people from a distance or act up. A lot of people actually came up and said, "You said say hello, I'm saying hello," and I really appreciated that. That was really cool. It made it easier for me. It was a great icebreaker. I
Yeah.
said say hello. It's my fault.
There's so many people that I mean, I literally must have taken 100 plus selfies with people. I don't I can't even remember all the people that. And you know what was surprising? We're just going to go ahead and just start going into some of this stuff. We got a couple of news things to talk about, and then we're going to go into the
Official show start.
yeah. We already kind of did it. We started it with already. I don't know how to get around I don't see when we do that beginning video. One of the things that we have to be not on the screen when we start the video, but then when I add my picture into the screen or add us back into the thing, it like stops for like a quarter of a second. The music and the video stops for a quarter of a second. Maybe it's just on this end. I don't think it's there. I don't, but anyways, it was great. I mean, we had a great time. I am so sorry that a lot of people got COVID.
Really?
Oh yeah, they were talking last night. Everybody was talking about it in the chat room. There was just like COVID.
Let me just say why. Okay, you can't really be surprised that potential is there because this was everybody just condensed, and people were again back to the old trying to breathe in each other's face and yelling in each other and spit flying off.
There's certain people. See. I like people to keep a little bit of. I like people to keep a little bit of a distance, but there were a few people. Of course, I'm not going to name any names, but there were a few people that were really nice. A couple were drunk, but were like close talkers. Like, and the only reason I say drunk is because you could smell it on their breath and you could tell that they were, But
I mean,
close talkers when you can feel their breath and you can feel every word on your face as they're talking.
And you won't admit it, but you're holding your breath while they're talking. Like you're like, no, I don't want to inhale whatever's coming out of there. You just like hold it and you hope they stop so you can take another breath.
Yeah, it's just you just kind of just turn.
I'm not saying it's bad breath. I'm just saying it's dangerous. Don't get that close.
Yeah, it's just So it's don't stand. Anyways. All right, so go ahead. What were we gonna say?
I'll tell you guys my remedy that I do. I'm going to share this with everyone here. This is what I do. And maybe you won't believe in it, but if you do this, I promise you many things that you may start feeling will go away. Original Listerine. If you go out, get original Listerine, the brown bottle, the one that's like, oh my gosh, and you gargle that as deep, like way, like almost swallow it, feel like you're gonna to get it out. Do that. I promise you. Whatever may be trying to get in from your day is gone. It will go away. Do it. So it works. I'm just saying. And I do not receive any funds from Listerine.
That'd be nice.
Wouldn't it? And don't get the cool mint and all the funny flavored ones, man. Get the original. Don't try to soften it. Get the hardcore stuff.
The cool mint works just as good.
Nope. I've experimented for years.
Nasty doesn't mean just because it tastes nastier does not mean it works better.
No, it's not the taste. I'm telling you, it's what's in it. Try it. Trust me. Stop trying over. You don't even know, man. I've been doing this for years.
I bring Listerine everywhere I go. Yes, absolutely. It's like
you need it. No, I'm just kidding.
Everybody needs it. At some point, everybody needs it.
But it works.
People I've met that needed it.
No, really. I'll do it. Do it.
Anyways, let's talk about a couple of things, a couple of news pieces, and then we're going to go into the celebration stuff. And again, I already said it, but I will say it again. Funkatopia is in no way endorsed or affiliated by the Prince Estate or Paisley Park. So anything that we talk about is all commentary. I'm not going to go negative. I will discuss some challenges that we heard about for sure, because if you don't discuss the challenges, then how do they know what went wrong if they weren't there to see it go wrong? And so they can make adjustments for next year. I don't.
Yeah, it's feedback. That's all.
It's just feedback. It's just real. So, anyways, let's talk about the news things first. Okay. Obviously, last night was the 40th anniversary of the release of Purple Rain, which was unbelievable that I did not know that when I booked Andrea and Dwayne on the Purple Rain show. I was just like, that is dope. That is definitely unbelievable. But one of the things that they're doing, obviously a lot of people were upset that there was no 40th anniversary release of Purple Rain, or there really wasn't anything special that was going on with the Purple Rain Blu-ray, other than some commentary and whatnot. However, they did manage to squeak out this little ditty. It is Purple Rain, the Splatter LP, that is available for pre-order. It is what is it? What's the weight of these things? 140 grams. Is that what it is? I think it's 140 grams.
Wow.
So it's 140 gram vinyl, and I guess it's white, and it has the purple splatter on it. I mean, that's pretty cool. I mean,
it is.
I mean, I think I think there's things like this that are really neat, but I already legit have like 4 copies of Purple Rain on vinyl as it is. I have the picture disc, I have the deluxe edition, I have the regular version of Purple Rain. I had I already have 4 of them. No joke, I have 4. All with the original stuff inside too, the posters and all that. And one that I have not, I actually have an original one that was friggin' still sealed, which is ridiculous. So that's got or something.
I may strongly consider it, because I no longer have a Purple Rain album. Of all the ones I've been replacing, for some reason I just haven't gone back and picked up Purple Rain, which is really wild, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of stuff got,
I mean, what I try to do is there are a lot of Prince albums that I do not have on vinyl, a lot, because I get a lot of them on CD, because realistically I have a lot of vinyl, but I also have a lot of CDs, and CDs were my go-to. Listen, I love collecting vinyl, but the problem is that vinyl is a pain in the butt when you got to keep it clean, you got and you can only listen to half the album, and then after that part you got to get up and then you've got to flip it over, and it's just the continuity of it.
You young
people.
Love
the audio. I mean, I like the audio of it. I mean, I love the sound of it, and when I'm in that zone, there's nothing that beats vinyl.
That's because you young folks know nothing about the process. You kids know nothing.
I believe I'm older than you. young gun.
You young folks know nothing about the experience of playing a record is what we're talking about here.
And cassettes too. I mean, I got so many cassettes and everything, but all that being said, the LPs are great, the vinyl is great, but this is certainly collector slanted, and I'm just curious if anybody is planning on picking up this splattered scenario, the splattered vinyl. It's actually a pretty neat item. For those who are listening on Spotify and our iHeartRadio, it's basically vinyl, and it's just white, but it has like these dashes of purple on it that were kind of splattered on the disc. But I think it would have been cool to have something like the shirt you're wearing, where it's the eyes and everything on the vinyl. That would have been cool.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the inner sleeve of that one, right? That's the sleeve.
Yes, inside. So, there's that. Anyways, I think it's cool, but I don't know that I'm gonna end up getting it, but that is what it is. All right, so
I might do it.
You think you're gonna do it?
I might do it, yeah. Because I don't have Purple Rain anymore, and that's kind of cool.
David Lee's right. He goes, that will be for the 50th. Oh, I clicked on the wrong thing.
Oh,
I went to and it shifted. That will be for the 50th. Yes, it will be for the 50th. And
Ow.
yeah. Lena says, I will not buy this Bob Ross Purple Rain vinyl.
just
Okay.
the tree.
Yeah, it's just like so many good things. All right, so the second piece of news, and then we'll go into the celebration stuff. The second piece of news is Prince getting a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Yeah.
Now, here's some interesting things about this because this is happening, but it's just so unusual to me that this is happening because when Prince was with us, he declined the Hollywood Walk of Fame twice. Twice he said that he didn't want it. I think the first time I think it happened, he said, I don't want people walking on my name, which is very similar to what Muhammad Ali had said. And one of the reasons why Muhammad Ali's star is on a wall. It's not on the ground with everybody else's. It's like on a wall. But it's a Hollywood Walk of Fame. But I understand we saying, Prince is always doing something a little bit unusual or off the beaten path. But then the other quote, I guess the second time it was offered, his wording was something along the lines of, I'm not ready. Now, here is, so there's a couple things here. First off, he's no longer with us. So the Hollywood Walk of Fame has this thing called the Springsteen Clause. And what the Springsteen Clause is, and I guess this is before anybody rejected it.
Right.
But you can be awarded a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. But what ended up happening with Springsteen is that somebody had nominated him, and of course was friggin' the boss. it's Bruce Springsteen, it's the boss. So they said yes, of course, and they went through the whole process, but Springsteen didn't want it. So he was like, I don't want it. So they created a clause that's now called the Springsteen Clause. So if somebody posthumously is no longer with us and they want to do the Hollywood Walk of Fame, you either have to get clearance from somebody from the estate, and I'm not just saying the Prince estate, I'm saying the estate of whoever is managing the affairs of the person that's no longer with us, the estate or the family. And in this particular case, it was the family. So it was Sharon and Jimmy Jam, who's obviously not family, but Sharon Nelson, Jimmy Jam. There was a few other people that signed on to it. Mm-hmm. And what's interesting about this is the estate had no idea this was coming. The estate did not know this was coming. And so they kind of found out about it like everybody else. But again, it's either the estate that's managing the affairs or the family. So the family did it. Now, here's the thing about the other thing too. It costs $75,000
right
to do one of these. So it's not just, congratulations, you got it. Now write us a check for $75,000.
You did it. Pays.
And this is the kind of thing that kind of is annoying because it's like, not annoying, but it's just, the powers that be aren't working together. They're not symbiotic, and I don't know that they ever will be. But the issue is that the estate probably would have participated in this positively, and may have even picked up the $75,000, flip bill. But it's everybody's trying to do stuff to try to. It's just,
what it becomes is because we don't know for sure how this would have gone had they gone through the estate first, or if everybody was on the up and up right up front. We don't know really how it could have gone because, again, as you said, Prince has said no thank you multiple times. So they may have said, well, he doesn't want it, we don't need to do it. Or they might have said, you know what, now it's time. We don't know. So, people can speculate either way. But if everybody comes together and decides in this situation, unfortunately, because it seems like there's a lot of rift, it's like if one decides, the other's going to be argue, and if the other decides, then the other one's going to argue. So it really doesn't matter what direction somebody chooses. Someone's going to go against it just because they chose. That's how it feels. I mean, obviously, everything's
Right.
not that way, but that's how it's starting to feel. Well, you said you like bananas. Well, I hate bananas, even if you like them.
Yeah. Well, and the only thing that I'm a little bit hesitant about is that, it seems like one thing after another just kind of keeps happening that Prince said he didn't want to happen and then happens anyway. That's the other part of this because, I like the next thing I would think would come down would be the what's the hologram thing.
Oh yeah, sure,
You know,
that's
because,
coming.
I know he was completely against it, but the reality of it is something could get overridden by somebody in the family who has rights to be able to do certain things,
Right.
or people that just love to be in litigious situations. I
Yeah,
get
and
I
people have to just kind of
don't
just
I don't
open up and allow things to grow as well, because technology is changing. So, you don't really know what he would have wanted, or not wanted now versus then, because we all know that, Prince would say one thing at one point, and then after a period of time start seeing it differently, and move in a different direction. So who's to say that at some point he might change his mind?
okay.
I feel like because he's no longer here, um, doing these little things might be a nice thing. It's just a matter of which ones make the most sense, because some things aren't as important as others. I think the hologram thing, that's interesting, because you go to a show like that and we're blown away by the technology, and it's like he's there. But again, to each his own. Everyone's going to feel different. I just don't think it warrants a big picket line, of crowd of 10,000 people screaming and crying. I think it just, if you like it, you like it. If you don't, turn away. You don't have to do it.
Well, I mean, there are a couple other questions that come in as places. I see it here in the chat room too, and I speculated on this too. Is exactly where would it be? All the prime spaces in like front of Man's Chinese Theater and some of the the main TMZ area there um, is already taken. Um, so where's this going to be? Um, Anyways, I guess we'll find out. I don't know. Nobody knows the specific date. Nobody really. I don't understand really who's paying for it or what the scenario is, but
Yeah. No.
But I do know that he does have a star in Atlanta because Atlanta has a Black Music History Walk of Fame. I'm not sure what the full title of that is, but uh, that was granted to him, and there wasn't any pushback there. But I think it was just it was the nature of what it was, and not the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Right.
So I don't know.
And if you've ever been to Nashville, the NAMM, they call it, National Museum of African American Music, has a whole thing dedicated to. I think it's probably still up there, but there's a whole lot of stuff about Prince and in his
Yep.
art, his legacy. So it's an awesome place to visit too, up in Tennessee.
Yeah.
Nashville.
Well, I guess we'll see what happens. That was an interesting little notation. So here we go. Let's talk about the celebration. So Jeff arrived the day before, and so he kind of went and got his registration and everything like normal folk.
Yeah.
And I arrived the next day. It was good to see. I had a little bit of a good positive vibe when I was waiting for my bag to arrive and saw that there literally were digital graphics. Whoever was doing the marketing and was really responsible for putting signage up and making sure that it was highly visible, I think did a pretty good, thorough job at making sure that everything was in places that people were. This actually, you can actually see behind it too that there's even more on the pillars. And Jeff actually had a shot.
Yeah, shot with all of them lined up, and all of them have that up. And well, I'll tell you this though: before you get to that spot, going down the stairs, after you go through whatever, you have to go down the stairs to get to the tram or whatever. above the stairs, it actually same thing popped up and says "Welcome Prince fans" or whatever that one says. Same similar thing. I was like, "Whoa, what's this?"
Yeah, so
So, there we
I
go.
think whoever was doing the marketing on the digital side of things, and I mean even the print side of things as well, because even in the block party there was, which we'll talk
Mhm.
about in a second, they had like stuff everywhere. So it was good to see. That was really positive,
Yeah,
just because I feel like it really kind of showed, okay, maybe they're ready, a little bit more
it felt nice.
prepared this time around for some of the things.
Yeah,
And let me just go ahead and just say this before we really dive into like the days as we go. Every celebration that has happened posthumously since it has been very different in a lot of different ways. Sometimes both of things would happen at everything would happen at Paisley Park. Sometimes there were shuttles that took you everywhere. Sometimes there weren't. Sometimes there was food there that was available for GA. Sometimes there wasn't. Sometimes there's always something different that they're trying. Sometimes there was like multiple tracks that you would have to do. Sometimes there wasn't. So they're always experimenting with different ways to do things. And I think what ends up happening is that the people like myself and others who have been to pretty much all the celebrations understand that we have to kind of rein ourselves back a little bit to kind of just say, judging it for the sake of the celebration, because some celebrations were better than others, some situations were handled better than others.
right.
It's just from celebration to celebration, there's always change. They're always trying to go bigger. They're always trying to do things that people are going to like. They're always trying to mix things up. And when you do that, um, you have challenges. But you
Right.
have challenges. You're like, oh, well, that it seemed like a really good idea, but I didn't see that happening.
Right.
Uh,
Well,
I,
logistically, is you're dealing with a lot more bodies, not close to you, like at a distance over there, and things out of your control. So, yeah, there's challenges.
yeah, I mean,
So,
for And so, one of the things I will tell you is that I did have some other bullets that I just kind of skipped over.
this is
One of the things being the pricing of the event, which I heard a lot about. Man, I can't believe I paid this much. I can't believe I paid this much. I've heard positives and negatives on both sides. Feel like they got their money's worth. They don't feel like they got their money's worth. But that's that's what Prince fans are. We just kind of like,
yeah, it's totally subjective.
yeah, we could be standing in the middle of Walt Disney with a balloon and an ice cream cone going, "This is a horrible day." Uh,
Ice cream dripping down your head.
Ice cream dripping down. It's like, bows in your hair and everything. This is so horrible.
Yeah, and
There so it's gonna be like this. There's
yeah,
always you're always gonna get this type of response and
I mean,
but go ahead. What were we gonna say?
depending on honestly, depending on your mindset or what you were expecting while you were there. You know what I mean? If some people went there expecting, I don't know, the purple family to see people there, to reconnect and all those kind of things, they're not complaining. Majority of them, that happened. But if you went there for, some other specific things and wanted to look at what other people are getting versus how am I doing with that, it kind of changed their perception. And then unfortunately, if you're around somebody who's in a negative energy space, I'm just gonna say it, that shit spreads. So even if you were fine, all of a sudden you're not feeling the same, and you have to be careful of staying around those that their energy is stronger than yours. Let's just put it that way.
I'm always surprised that they're able to curate 5 days worth of stuff
Yeah,
for,
I,
to keep
I'm
to keep everybody busy and moving. And it's just, there's always something that kind of breaks or gets, you know,
yeah, I like
has
the attempts they did this year.
logistically. Yeah, I mean, so and we're gonna talk about those things, but here's what I'll tell you: GA this year was $750. Now, VIP was roughly twice that when you do the fees. It was because it was 1350, and then of course you had fees and whatever. But let's look at the GA side of things, the $750. I saw, and I said this to you when we were down there. I saw the Rolling Stones in Atlanta one night, one show for about that price on the floor for a
Think about that.
for like a 2-hour, 2.5-hour show. I mean, and if you are like, you think of any big name star, Beyonce, Taylor Swift, whatever. If you plan to like be on the floor or have like good access to anything, you're going to be paying, real money, $350, $500 for one show that's probably going to last 2 hours. And I mean, that's the reality of it. And so we're right about that same price, or for close to about the same price of what you would pay to be on the floor for whatever the biggest star is of the day. You're getting 5 days of entertainment and stuffs and fam. And now obviously with VIP, you got fed, and they had shuttles, and they had there's a lot of things that were going on. So I think that they do realize that not everybody has deep pockets, and a lot of us don't. We just can't just afford to throw money like this. I mean, I'll be paying on this for a minute.
Right.
Anyways, it's just yeah, I'm already seeing some. I'm already seeing some.
Yeah. I mean,
so
there's various. Again, that's what we're saying. Depending on your mindset, you can't tell you how to feel. So it's okay to feel that way. You know what I mean? Because your expectation is your expectation, and that's just the way it is. I don't disagree with anybody's personal expectations, if that's what it was.
Yeah.
There were a lot of things. Whenever someone asked me what I thought of what was happening, the content, basically, because I'm sure anyone who saw Lundell floating around, or that kind of thing, if he spoke to you and he asked you, what do you think of the content? How do you think things are going? Overall, the individual pieces of content I thought was pretty good. I was enjoying things, and when I saw people, I saw happy people, smiling faces, excited people. I didn't see a bunch of just the moments were because of other things, like we were saying, now we're dealing with processes and dealing with stuff, which we'll get into again.
Right. Well, so I'm gonna fast forward through the schedule. I'm not reading the schedule, but this was the GA schedule that for those listening on Spotify or iHeartRadio or whatever. I'm just showing the picture of the schedule. I'm not going to go too much into this. And then the VIP, there was purple VIP ticket holders and gold VIP ticket holders, and there was just a little bit of difference in what you got to do when. Like purple got to do like the listening sessions on Thursday, and of course with gold they did it on Sunday. So this little variances like that were just a little bit different. But right out of the gate, I think people were starting to kind of feel some sort of way. I know a lot of people parked at Lake Ann that first day, like the VIP folks, and somebody had sent me a picture of a line of people outside of Paisley Park, not outside in the parking lot, Paisley Park, like outside down the road, in the street. And see, for me, it's kind of like, all right, people are coming. There's no sidewalks outside of Paisley Park. So, I mean, they had a shuttle bus come and they weren't ready to bring them in.
Right.
So again, it was just like kind of a logistics. Again, they're trying something new. Maybe something wasn't ready, or there could have been something going on with the fire marshal. There's always two sides to every story.
Do you know what time that was? That picture?
I don't.
Yeah.
No.
So there could also be that scenario of it's before they even open. I don't really know. So I don't know what time that picture was taken. So that's a possibility too.
Well, the person that sent it to me was a VIP person that got there and from the shuttles. Now, to be clear, speaking of the shuttles, that was around 9:45.
Okay.
Yeah, they didn't have a shuttle from the Hilton Bloomington. And let me go ahead and just apologize on behalf of somebody who pushes the Hilton Bloomington a lot, because once again, this is one of those scenarios of the celebration where they did something that they've never done in the celebration before. In the past, they normally will only name like 2 host hotels.
Mhm.
This one they had like a laundry list of them, but they only like 2 host hotels, and then they will take they will have a shuttle that will go directly to Paisley Park. But the first entire 2 days were in downtown Minneapolis, and they did not do shuttles for anyone.
Right.
And that is right. And the only time they had shuttles were like those last few days that were in Paisley
Sunday,
Park.
Monday or something.
Yeah, Sunday and Monday were the only 2 days they really had shuttles going to Paisley Park. And you still, had to go to specific locations, and it wasn't the hotel. But every single celebration up until this one, Bloomington was still the best place to stay. And in all honesty, we had rent-a-cars and it was fine. I didn't have any problem going to it was fine driving to downtown. It was fine driving to Paisley Park, because Bloomington is just smack there in the middle. It just makes it so easy to get to places.
Yeah.
It's not really that difficult. And the shuttle buses were running seemingly sporadically, because I even as I was sitting there, I was thinking to myself, I don't understand the schedule. I don't understand what's happening. Now, obviously, if I was reliant on that,
Yeah, you know it.
I know what time it was, but I wasn't taking it. I was just kind of like, oh, they're leaving right now.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, it's just,
Yeah, I agree. In fact, I really like that hotel in that area. Again, in the past, just like Mr. Christopher always explained of where everything is and how it fits the pattern of everything. In this case, if you were staying downtown, that would have been ideal. A lot of
for the first 2 days.
for the first couple of days, that would have been the perfect place,
Right.
because then you
If you're in downtown, especially that Hampton Inn that was right there on the corner where the block party was,
you got it
you
all.
downstairs, you walked 1 block to the State Theater, walk right to the block party for those first 2 days. But those last 2 days, you had to drive twice as far to go from downtown all the way down to Paisley Park. And then of course, you're stuck down there. So it was either or, because even with us, we were in Bloomington and we went to downtown, but there wasn't enough time. They didn't have enough of a break in order for us to be able to go back and get ready for the concert that night, or to change or do anything that night. So it was like,
The hardest part, I think, of being downtown was just figuring out the logistics of parking. That's just a tough one. Like, one place is this price, another one is 3 times that, another one is if you're there between this hour and that hour, you may get lucky, and
Right.
that's really tough. There's no way to get around that. So,
Well, and they also said Golden Signatures also says the charter bus was a block away from the Hampton. So if you needed to go there, so it is. But see, here was the other thing to this too. You are not privy to what the schedule is and where things are going to be. It's kind of a roll the dice as to
yeah,
as to where things are going to be at. And that's the other issue, is that really, if we'd have been able to look at the schedule. And the other thing too is that, once again, downtown hotels were more expensive than staying in Bloomington. I mean, you're talking about anywhere from $50 to $100 a night difference.
Yeah.
And that's just, over 5 days, that's $250, that's a lot of money. So it's just, it is just, yes, that's a perfect way to put it. Bloomington has a Zen garden for a pocket of peace for a break.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to talk about that.
Yeah,
about the NS. I'm going to actually bring that up because
we will.
I went there.
Yeah, I was with you. I know you did.
I went there.
You went there. All right, let's keep talking. So, as the day went on, obviously, day one was pretty much VIP mostly. The only thing the GA had to do on day one was just the launch party that was at the kickoff party that happened on Thursday, and that was at the W Hotel in Fauché. But we were not VIP, but I did get some information from some of the VIP folks, so I could kind of share with you guys what had happened. I will tell you that first off, what happened was VIP was treated to two separate screenings. The Purple VIP folks were two separate concert screenings. One was a rehearsal for the shows in Reno, and another one was for the Purple Rain concert segment. Now, this is the one part of the VIP area that I wish that I had access to. But there were a bunch of songs that the VIP folks also got to listen to. Wow. And of course I wasn't there. So this is the first shout out to Dorothy Inez, who shared with me the songs that were shared. First off, she actually took notes for us. The first was Let's Go Crazy, which was an early cut of the song. So it was a little bit different than obviously the produced one that we all know and love from Purple Rain. So it was an early cut of Let's Go Crazy. Then there was a song called Fat Jazz, which was a song that was done with Prince and Andre Simone from August of 1977. Then there was a song called Children of the Sun, not Child of the Sun, but Children of the Sun, not to be confused with the song from Maite's thing, but Children of the Sun, which was Prince solo on piano, and it had a very gospel feeling to it. Then there was another song called Friction, and they actually brought out dancers into the room to dance to the song. It was a song called Friction.
Wow.
There wasn't really any details on the sound of the song or the vibe of that song, but that's what happened on that one. The next song was a song called The First Time I Saw You, which was a song from 1985, which is Prince and his dad, John Nelson. And so that was the one I didn't really give any vibe, but I'm assuming it was probably very piano heavy. It was the two of them. The next song was a song called Fusion, which was a distinct 80s sound, and it had a drum machine. So it was it was definitely a song you could pick up and place right into the 80s, and it sounded just like that. No details on the next song. It's a song called No Changes. It was a song that was from 1987. One of the unreleased tracks that VIP got to hear last year, excuse me, was a song called All the King's Horses. And this was the same song as last year, but this time around it actually had a string arrangement to it. Then there was a song called Calabama. So California and Alabama together. So Calabama, it was a track that was considered for the Musicology album. So we're talking about this particular century that one was done. Then a song called God Created Woman, which was a piano rendition that kind of flowed into Three Chains of Gold. So that obviously was one that was, I guess, 90s. And then lastly was a song called, I've never heard of this one. It's called Purple Rain. It was actually a demo of Purple Rain, but there was actually a sound effect of thunder coming in, not the song, the sound effect of thunder. No, the sound effect of thunder, and because it was Purple Rain. And then it was a piano solo, and then he went to the song Purple Rain, but he also sung it in a deeper key, and than what we're used to normally hearing. So she said it was very, very emotive. And so those are the songs that they got to hear. There's a lot. It's a lot. Wow. Yes. Wow. And I want to see, I was kind of reading this paper, but I see that people were commenting as I was reading.
This is the time I wish I could do the Vulcan mind meld with someone who was there and just like, oh, I feel it now. Now I know.
Well, one of the things that I noted, was definitely one of the things that we enjoyed last year. But then what ended up happening is that after the celebration was over, they actually gave it to people on that fake USB cassette looking thing, which is cool. But, I don't know. That's the only thing. That's really the only piece that I really missed seeing or hearing, more or less. That's
awesome. That's awesome.
Pretty exciting.
Well, that's a heck of a list. Like I said, I got nothing. I wish I was there. I wish I could have heard those. But that's all
But
right.
then,
That's all right.
so then they went to lunch, and that was probably one of the second things that we had heard about, was because it rained for most of on and off for most of the time we were there in Minneapolis. I mean, it was either raining a little bit or a lot of it, or then it rained. I think the worst part of the rain was Saturday. Saturday was probably the worst one. But when I got there, I arrived on Thursday, and I went to go pick up my credentials, which were there at Paisley Park. So I was there as GA to pick up my credentials, but the VIP people were there doing, listening to all that music and everything. And there was a long line that was going from the tent that was located on the grounds. And that line that you're looking at right there is the line for lunch. And so, and again, this doesn't have anything necessarily to do with the estate or Paisley Park. From what I understand, this was a People's Organic thing, where I guess, however they had planned on distributing lunches or whatever was just not. It just didn't.
It didn't go smooth, quite that smooth.
It just wasn't smooth.
I do think that, and that was a great idea, or the setup that they had for the tent. I don't think there's any photos of that, but it was a pretty good tent with a nice, at least somewhat flooring. And I actually went over and spoke to Lindell about it. I told him, I was like, that's good, because I remember being there and it just being open and windy and the whole nine. The tent was brilliant. He said, they knocked that floor out in really short window because of the weather and the rain. It was muddy and they had to do all these extra things just to get it to where they got it. I'm like, I thought that was, if anything, at least there was some real good preparation for that.
Yeah, there was a lot of line situations the whole entire time. State Theater was a big issue.
Yeah,
a couple times, because they would say, all right, the doors are going to open at 6:30, and we would start walking past, and an hour before the doors even supposed to open, and you go, oh, there's already people starting, the milling around, so we better not go anywhere. So you sit out there and you wait for an hour thinking, oh, they're going to open the doors, we'll just sit and talk or answer emails or whatever. And then the doors don't open, and then when they open them, they just let you into the lobby part, not into the actual place where the show is, because and you can hear them rehearsing behind the door or whatever, or doing sound check. And then you sit out there and wait for another, because both times with State Theater you end up waiting for, it was like over 2 hours in line if you happen to get there a little bit early, whatever. So I mean, it was a nightmare.
It was more than nightmare. It was grueling, because what they don't remember or realize is, this is a slight incline. And this is a lot of people. And I'm sorry, I'm gonna say it, we're getting up there in our years. The knees are hurting, the backs are hurting, our feet are hurting. That's a lot of standing to be like extending, that long extra time. That's a lot of
I think, and again, somebody had said they probably should have looked at the almanac, but the reality of it is they wanted to do it during this period of time. They rolled the dice.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm seeing a lot of people saying that the boards were warping that they had underneath the thing.
Why
Somebody broke their foot. I just saw somebody say that they broke their foot. That's horrible.
Oh, that is horrible.
Yes, but yeah. So, and I also said I saw somebody write up here that the VIPs only got 2 meals. Seemed like last year we got fed like all the time. Like it was like every single day they were there was lunch, and it was very, the lines were well handled. It was like very, very quick. And it was quick. So yeah, the lines and it wasn't that big of a deal. I mean, yes, you probably were in line for about 15 minutes or something, but it wasn't an hour. I'm seeing reports of an hour.
Right.
So anyways, it is what it is. I can't complain because I was not a VIP, so I didn't, that wasn't really too much of anything. But all that said,
any of that.
all that said, then of course then everybody, the VIP folks, and were given a break, and then GA actually was able to go and experience their very first part of the celebration, which was the Fauché, the launch party at the Fauché at W Hotel. I had this. There was another picture that we took that I thought was even better, but this is a picture of Jeff and I in front of the Schmidt Music Mural. I hope that when you were in, and I see this was this outfit that I had on. I was trying, and I said this to a lot of people when I felt like I was trying to explain what I was trying to do.
If you have to explain it.
No, I mean, it worked out. Everybody loved it. I mean, it looked good. But the reality of it is that I was trying to recreate the look from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame performance that Prince had, but I didn't have like the red shirt, and it's still, yeah. So yes, the Schmidt Music Mural is still there. But they are planning that parking lot that we're standing in, as far as I know, is still under contract, where there's gonna be a building there, and while they won't tear down the Schmidt Music Mural, and big pimpin' spending cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he looked like.
Yeah, so there will be a building there, and whatever the distance is between those two buildings, which wouldn't probably, it's a downtown area, so probably wouldn't be more than 10 feet. So if you happen to be down in Minneapolis at any point in time, get your picture taken in front of that Schmidt Music Mural, because it's going to be gone.
Yeah, do it while you still have light, because once they put another building next to it, it's going to be like a giant urinal.
Right, exactly.
I don't want to walk through there.
And then of course the Fauché, I was very, very happy. I'm not going to lie. I was very, very happy to see that DJ Linka Paris was in the mix.
Love it.
When we walked in, I was just like, yes, please, because there's certain DJs that they use. I'm not going to name names on DJs or whatever, but what I will say is I feel like there's other DJs that are more just like jukeboxes, where just kind of just play one song after another, where DJ Lincoln really gets in it. She's like not saying that other DJs aren't hardcore Prince fans, but Lenka takes it to this other level where else would you go? Where else would you go where you have hundreds of people inside of a room singing Violet the Organ Grinder at the top of their lungs? It's just, it does not make any sense.
And her flawless mixes, like
it's just, yeah,
her mixes into anything. Hands down.
I'm gonna wonder if I can even share this screen here. Hold on a second.
She had that knocked out the park.
One second. Let me see if I can share this. Okay. I mean,
yeah.
It was hard to get up. This also had Violet the Organ Grinder. That was obviously Get Off, but it was just a party. It was just a friggin' party. Really She's it was like 4 hours of her just mixing her butt off all friggin' night, man. I am just, it's one thing to play 4 hours worth of music if you're playing the entire song, but Linka will like play like maybe a couple of verses and a chorus. So she's like doing whatever she possibly can to get through Prince's like entire library. It's just Lenka is the bomb. Love her to death for sure. So that was a good time. Where did we go anywhere that night? We didn't go anywhere.
Like we're outgrowing the Fauché though, man. I feel like,
well, no, here's the thing though. In the past couple of celebrations before this one, the upstairs area was an area for VIP. So if you wanted to kind of just chill, have a drink, and hang out with people, you could go up there, and it was all open for VIP. They didn't do that. They just And I think probably what ended up happening is in those previous years, the VIP people were saying, yeah, we like this, but the party's downstairs.
Right.
So now there's not even an option, now there's not even an option for people to kind of go somewhere. If you wanted to talk, you needed to come out into the lobby. And so that was basically,
I think it was the back area though. Wasn't that for VIP people? And when you first come in the door, you see that little to the left area.
that was anybody could walk in there.
I felt like I wasn't supposed to walk in there.
No, I was sitting there. Yeah.
I walked up to the door and there was nothing in front of me. And it was like, hey, wait. I felt like something was there. Maybe someone was just looking at me wrong.
Yeah, and Thomas is correct. Thomas Bass or Bass, whichever one. He says not just VIP hangout, there was actually VIP programming. Correct. They actually had special guest speakers that were there in the meeting room upstairs.
Oh, that's dope.
That they had, so if you had VIP, you were able to actually sit up there, and it was, and it was good. It was a lot of fun, but yeah, it was a good time.
Cool.
So I don't remember doing anything the after that. I think we went back to the house. We didn't back to the hotel. I don't think there was anything else going on, but
I don't think so. I don't remember.
All right. So we go to day 2. Now, so that was day 1, which was already pretty packed. You had all the VIP experiences and some of the challenges that they'd experienced with People's Organic, because People's Organic didn't have enough food or wasn't enough food ready. It was a whole thing, and that it was. And again, this has never been an issue before. This is what I'm saying. It's like when you make these types of changes, there are different types of challenges and different types of logistics that come into place. And it's not the job of the estate. It's not the job of Paisley Park to kind of manage those scenarios. You say, People's Organic or whoever you got coming in, this is what we have. This is what you need to do. This is how many people need to be fed. This is how they're going to come out. And you need to have the proper setup in order to manage that. And that line that I showed you, there was one table that was serving food, kind of like a one-sided buffet thing. And it wasn't a buffet thing. It was, somebody scooping for whatever. But when you've got that many people, you need to have like 2 or 3 setups in order to get them in and get them out. And so that they can relax and not, screw up schedules. And it's
that. Somebody mentioned
everybody just keeps pointing their fingers. This is a problem because everybody keeps Londale and Charles and them keep taking the heat for a lot of this stuff, and they're not responsible for every little iota of everything that happens at that friggin' event. It is a massive thing. There's no way they could do it. It's just not possible. You got to rely on the people that you hired to do those particular portions of the job.
Right. And now it's a fact that when it doesn't go well, they do have to take the hit. It falls on them, but it's not necessarily their fault. That's the point. Somebody else mentioned,
there were 2 serving lines apparently. Go on, David.
That's the other thing. Ice House.
What about Ice House?
Yeah. We ended up going over there.
Oh, what was Ice House? What am I forgetting about Ice House?
That was where Martin Kember did some stuff. And
oh no, but that was Saturday. That was Friday night.
That was Saturday?
No. I can't. Oh no, you're right. No, it was Thursday night. It was Friday night because Alfonso Starr had an event that was out. Right, it was competing with the launch party, and it was like, yeah, right. You're right. It was Thursday night, and yeah. No, you're not. It's me. It's all me. Got to pop an extra Nariva. So there was, so Alfonso Starr actually had an event with Martin Kember. Those two always work together quite a bit, and they had an event over at Ice House, and there was a lot of people that were hanging out there. And so as that one at the Fauché was kind of dying down, a lot of people went over there to Ice House and did that. And we didn't stay there too long because it was already getting pretty late. And
right, we went there late.
Wiped. We were both wiped as far as because you're constantly on the move. It's just like pow, 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 pow. Yes, I mean, Tracy says as a producer, everyone is looking for me, but anything goes wrong. I understand that.
Of course,
I get that. Yes, you do have to try to but there's a lot going on in multiple locations and multiple everything. But this is a scenario of delegation. It truly is. I mean, even if Londell or anybody was out there, pointing fingers and saying what's going to happen, what needs to happen, it's not going to make it go better if the vendor is not ready for that wave. It's not like you can't help them scoop food. You can't. It's like if they're not ready to do what they're supposed to be doing, it just isn't. I mean, I don't know. All right, let's go to day 2.
There's a lot to it, and like you said, they've done this before. So whatever happened this time was ill-timed because it did mess things up. So it could have been something specific that happened behind the scenes. It just unfortunately, my thing is it puts a bad taste in everybody's mouth if that's how your week starts. You messing up my food.
You're like, okay, well, this, maybe it's just a rough start or whatever, and then you say,
It's a rough start. Yeah. So.
Everybody, and I'm seeing people saying that Tracy is like an amazing. She should be like an event planner. They should bring somebody that has that type of experience with those types of event planning and that type of thing, and make it happen. And again, I think that probably there was just some drop balls, but that's okay. Again, there's still a lot going on. Let's go to day 2. State Theater, we already talked about some of the issues with the waiting. They did a lot of that. And I don't know if it was a scenario where the State Theater was not ready, because we would hear when the doors are supposed to open, even an hour after the doors are supposed to open, you're still waiting out there in the lobby, listening to them sound check. So you think to yourself, did the band not show up on time to do the sound check? You're trying to figure out exactly what happened when.
I mean,
I know it's not you.
I know what happened.
If I'm late to anything, I'm like having a fit.
Yeah.
I can't. That's like one of my biggest pet peeves is being late for something. That's the reason why I'm always sitting at the airport for 2 hours at the gate, and why I'm
I'm the same way. Can be late.
I can't. Yeah, especially if it's something that's music related or entertainment related. That is, what I try to do. But anyways, I don't know what happened, but all that to say, the State Theater scenario with the waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting just kind of kept on. It happened both times. It happened, well, multiple times actually.
Yeah, it was. That was pretty bad.
Well, both times with the concerts that were supposed to happen. It wasn't really on the actual parts where they were doing like the things like the concert footage that didn't require. But whenever there was a band involved, it was that. So anyway, so we get in to the State Theater and there is concert footage. And it was concert footage from Purple Rain. I believe it was Columbia, Maryland. I know that somebody will correct me. I'm pretty sure it was Columbia, Maryland in 1985, or maybe it was 1984. So we got to see that, but you didn't watch the whole entire concert. We kind of like watched the first half, and which was really, really awesome. And then then we got to see Purple Rain, the movie, in the 4K, the new 4K version, playing at the theater, and it was pretty friggin' awesome. And
it was awesome.
You think I've seen this movie 100 times, but then you see it in like this crystal clear resolution. You're like, okay.
Yeah. And for me, same thing. I've seen it a bunch of times. Like, honestly, when it first came out, I saw Purple Rain maybe 10 times, like within the first couple of days. Maybe the first week at least. I saw it maybe 10 times because so many people that know me wanted to see it, and they would say, "You want to go?" And I'm okay. And they paid my way, so 10 times made sense. Honestly, throughout all these years, maybe once or twice have I watched it all the way through since then. But for the majority of the time, when Purple Rain comes on, okay, cool, but I'll catch a couple of scenes, but I just don't watch it all the way through. So to sit down and end to end do this in 4K after not seeing it for such a long time, it was really cool. It stirred up and I started remembering things and I got into it fully. So yeah,
Yeah.
it was
And
awesome.
I think, the biggest thing, for me and just the Funkatopia side of things was it really was a validation, because the night before, the Tuesday before, not night before, but the Tuesday before this happened, that early that week, we had a Purple Rain roundtable here with Jerome Benton, Craig Rice, Gilbert Davison, Hucky Austin, Damon D, Alan Leeds, and it was they were talking about all these different things that happened during the recording of the movie. Some of the scenes, Jerome was talking about the scene where he throws the girl into the dumpster, and some extra things that were happening, like his coat got caught on something when he was throwing her in, and that he had like pull and yank his coat out, and so there was like all these little things that they had mentioned throughout the roundtable, and of course that Craig Rice was also talking about. Craig Rice was also talking about the fact that he all the things that he had to do. He had to wake him up so early, and that was that he was driving the
Yeah.
past nuts and everything. And what was great about this is that you're watching the movie and you see all these scenes that they were talking about, including scenes that had been deleted, like the scene when he's driving underneath the bridge with Apollonia after he kidnaps her from the show. And there used to be a rape scene there, and that was taken out of the movie. But you see all these things, and it's like it was really validating to kind of it especially when you're watching it unfold right in front of you. And then after the movie is over, they had a panel with the Revolution. All the Revolution came out on stage. And they're talking about Craig Rice waking them up in the morning. And it was just like, that was so validating having that show. It was just so friggin', it was just fantastic.
You can't tell me that anyone who saw that show, you can't tell me that when you were watching the movie, it didn't change how you
Right.
viewed certain things. Like you said, you were like anticipating. Now now you're looking for things, and now you saw it, and it felt different just to see that because they talked about it. And then, like you said, the panel goes up, and then they start discussing things, and they talked about some of the stories that came out. So everything came together, and it was like, oh man,
Yeah,
that
it was fantastic. It was
so fun.
fantastic. I
Can't
promise you, I am trying my best to keep up with everybody's
Me too. It's just so
comments, but they are just they're just coming by so fast. So my apologies if I'm not responding to everybody that is saying things. I'm trying, because I obviously have a script that I'm trying to follow, or like a timeline that I'm trying to follow here, so I can't like stop and read everything all the time. Yeah, so this oh, thank you, Heidi. Heidi said, I love the Revolution of Morris Day, but that Funkatopia Roundtable was a way better discussion at the State Theater.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. I mean, it was great to hear all the individual stories, and it's just been it's been awesome. I mean, anyways, that was a great roundtable to have them there. And then of course, we had to go. We were kicked out at that point, kicked out of State Theater, and then we had to go and find someplace to go to lunch. And we happened to stumble upon this little place, this Turkish place of which is like a couple blocks away, called Lumi, Lumi. So if you're ever in Minneapolis, let me just say this: if you're ever in Minneapolis and you're looking for a place that is really good, pretty reasonable on pricing, most
Nice
dishes are around
atmosphere.
$20. It is amazing. And now, if I have never once ever in my life took out my phone and said Turkish restaurant near me.
Right.
Never said it. I've never done it in my life. I've never said Turkish restaurant near me. It's never happened. But we were outside because they had a menu on display outside, and I was looking over the menu, and I was just like, this, I mean, some of this stuff sounds great. I'm like chicken curry, and they had chicken tikka marsala, and all this. It was really, really great.
Yeah.
I was like, holy cow, this is. I did take a picture of my food, like other ignorant social folks do.
Yeah.
But so the puff bread on the right is this huge. It's like what they do is they like take like I'm trying to. You can experience this. It's like naan, but what they do is they actually. It's like naan bread, but then they push air into it, so it's like puffed up like this big thing, and you break it off and you dip it, and it was just.
Let me tell him what happened. So you got this big puffed bread, and we're looking at this big puff, and it's like, well, what do we do with that? He's looking at it. I'm like, I don't know. I said, poke it. Like maybe it'll just shrink down.
That's what I was expecting. I was
expecting him to poke it and the bread to just go.
Yeah, it didn't happen. So I just poked it, and then it was just like a hole. It was like a little
change. It just looked at us like, yeah, so what?
Yeah, so basically you just had to just rip it off, and then there's the sauce with and everything. And that was the chicken curry, and then of course they had was that Turkish coffee? What was it? What kind of coffee was that?
That was the Turkish coffee.
A Turkish coffee, which was like espresso times 3, basically.
The hostess rope-a-doped us. She literally was like,
that's a good way to put it.
We were standing outside looking at the menu, trying to decide, and she came over and she was like, she goes, yeah, you guys, you want to come in, you might as well just come in. There's nowhere else you want to go. This food is delicious. You're gonna love it. And we're like, oh wow. And then she goes, yeah, you guys, it's great to see you look good. Like, hey, she's like a salesman, like
and the whole time she's in the process of taking a couple steps back and opening up the door and going, no, it looks great. Come on inside. And
for you.
And this girl was like, she wasn't like, she's like 20.
So nice.
Maybe she was just like really just. So we were just like, all right, screw it, let's just do it. And
you stopped. You said, well, I just want to look at this other place. I want to check out one more menu because there's a restaurant next to you. She goes, okay, you go look at it, but then you'll come back.
Oh, there she is, Lenka Paris in the house.
I got to do it.
Oh my God, yes. Yeah, Lenka, I hope you were in here. We were just bragging about you. We cannot, yeah. We can't brag about Lenka enough. That's all there is to it. It's just there's nobody that mixes and does it the way that she does it, and is passionate about Prince's music and knowledgeable about the music and all the songs enough to make it work. Because it's one thing just to kind of DJ based on BPMs or whatever, but it's another thing when you're familiar with the music and you're familiar with the flow and the moods and the ebbs and flows. It's just
her mix is.
Lenka is the Shiite.
Why don't stop till she turns it off? That's it.
So you missed the. So let's see. You're so amazing, Lenka Paris. My wife and I are huge fans of yours. Thank you for your set. Love Lenka. So talented. Nice work, Lenka. I love you, Lenka. Lenka's mix is a top friggin' notch.
Yes.
Unreal. It's like nothing but love. So. Welcome. So this is all. So that is the Lenka love.
Yep.
The Lenka love segment.
Talking about food. Love food.
That's right. So now we kind of moved on to the food. All right. So
if you go to Lumi though, gotta ask for Krishna. She was the bartender there. She was the sweetest, just nicest person. She was very nice to everybody, just across the board, and you could just feel that was her. It wasn't like fake. I'm trying to get tips out of anybody. She's just sweet. So even check for her. She was awesome. So,
and she also works at the Nye Piano Bar.
NYE or Nye Piano Bar.
Nye. Well, I brought it up last night. I said, we went to this piano bar and there was this, I'll fast forward a little bit. We went to this piano bar. What was it? Sunday night or Monday? Yeah, it was Sunday night. And it was, and this older lady, she's probably in her 70s, and she starts singing Purple Rain. And it's just her.
Krishna told her.
Huh?
Krishna told her when we showed up. She was excited. She went and told the piano.
So she starts playing Purple Rain, and it's so funny because she's just an older lady, and she's she's singing it like you'd expect an older lady to sing it. and then it calls you in his RO. And then, then all of a sudden it got to the part and she's like, hello, I'm so Tom shaking. And I'm just like, oh my God, what is happening? She just like, I mean, she was like bouncing up off of her seat and she was just in it. I was like, oh my God. So you have to go to Nyes and have her sing Purple Rain. To put $1 in the jar and she will go in. She goes hard. It was so
All
fun.
right, hold on. We
Okay.
got to address the elephant in the room. I have
What's
to.
that?
But Jeff, I heard stories about people that love or hate the horn. Is that true?
Well, first off, that's not true. Nobody loves it.
No, wrong. Chris doesn't love it.
No.
But a lot of people have come to me and said they love that. Oh my gosh, it's awesome. But the same amount of people have come to me and said, I hate that horn. Don't
Please
do
stop
that
doing
horn
it.
anymore. Grr, get rid of that horn. People have come to me and said they hate the horn, and then a few minutes later walk by me and go, pew, 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 pew. You got mixed emotions, and at some point, you're all going to love it.
Yeah, unfortunately, not to have any further discussions on this, but at one point in time, Charles Spicer in our presence went, "Frou, frou, frou." I'm like, you did not just do that, sir.
That's right. So I'm keeping it.
I was like, oh shit.
Oh, I love it. So yes,
okay,
yes, it's true. I don't deny it. There are a lot of people that cannot stand it, and I get it. And somebody else said to me, you know what? If you got people that love it and people that hate it, that means you're doing something right. So
yeah, that's right. You're gonna have haters. If you don't have haters, you're not doing it right. That's what I've always said. All right. So we had this big break. Let's get back on schedule here. So we had this big break, and it was lunch at Lumi or whatever. And then, of course, we came, and the next thing, obviously, on the schedule was Revolution at First Avenue. Now, there wasn't any opening. It was, they're basically showing a lot of funk videos, not just Prince videos. They showed a lot of Prince videos, but there was a lot of other videos. But the place was packed. I mean, literally packed. And a lot of people recording, and of course, then they also welcomed Judith Hill to come out and sing a bunch of songs as well, which was really, really cool. So I think, a lot of people were like, "Oh man, what did they do for songs or whatever?" And I did. If you actually go to the Facebook page, Facebook.com/Funkatopia, I actually put the full set list of the Revolution, but I'll read it off real quick. It was Let's Go Crazy, Computer Blue, When You Were Mine, Take Me With You, Erotic City, and then they brought out Judith Hill, and Judith Hill did The Beautiful Ones and When Doves Cry, and then she left, and then they did Raspberry Beret, Mountains, America, and then Judith came back out and did Kiss. And then she left the stage again, and they did 1999 and Automatic. I think she actually stayed. She did background vocals. 1999, then Automatic, I Would Die For You, and then they closed the set with Baby I'm a Star with Judith Hill. And then, of course, the encore was Purple Rain with Judith Hill. Now, I had heard that and I wasn't there, but when they did the show shortly after Prince's death at First Avenue, that encore not only had Purple Rain, but they also did Sometimes It Snows in April. And I'm going to say that would have been too much. I think that would have been like the tear jerker part of the night for sure. That would have been too,
for sure.
that would have been too much, I think.
There were mixed emotions overall about the performance and Judith Hill and all that. But to me, the show was awesome. I had a great time. Yeah. I enjoyed it. I was moved. Yeah, there were some places where there was a lot of extra going on, but it wasn't to the point where I would have a problem with it. I'm still walked away there on a purple high.
What, you're talking about Judith?
Yeah. Like
Well, see, here's the thing with Judith. Were you with me that night that she came to City Winery? I don't think that you were. I think
No,
I
I
ended up doing it by myself.
Mm-mm.
So she came to the City Winery in Atlanta, and by the way, she's coming back to the City Winery in Atlanta.
Oh, cool.
And Sheila E is also coming back to the City Winery in Atlanta. So
Two shows I can go to.
Yeah. However, Judith is a very, very, very proficient guitar player and piano player. So she likes to have an instrument in her hands. And when you have somebody that's like that, and you don't really do anything extra like dancing or moves or choreography or stuff like that. It's a very difficult position to be in as a singer if you're used to having an instrument in your hand, because you're just kind of like, you feel like you need to overcompensate for the instrument that you don't have, or you kind of feel like you need to do a little bit extra. But the thing is that Judith Hill is very, very talented, and she is an amazing vocalist. I did hear reviews from people that saw Revolution on Saturday night that she did tone it down a little bit.
I heard that.
So yeah, so there's a lot of shows coming in Atlanta. I see some people going ATL.
I tell you, it was loud in there.
The City Winery is about to turn up. They've got so many shows coming with Sheila and Judith Hill. T.I. is doing a show. Why is T.I. doing a show at City Winery? I'm like, what now?
Yeah,
there's a bunch of stuff going on. Check out that City Winery schedule.
The biggest thing that I heard about the Revolution, the first Ave, was the volume. It was
so
loud. But
I brought my earplugs with me, and I was glad that I did.
You have to have them. This for me was one of those things that I needed to do, because I've never been to First Avenue, and to go to First Ave and see the Revolution as my first time was the perfect thing for me. That's absolutely what I needed. I could have pretty much been done and gone home after that. It was like, I'm good now. I'm good. It was super loud though, but
yeah, it was.
I don't care, man.
So then after the Revolution was over, then the DJ came on, but the DJ didn't perform from the stage. He performed from up in the booth on the second level, and just because I guess Revolution had their setup and it just wasn't enough turnover time. But we got to hang out afterwards. Got to talk a little bit with Funkenberry, talk with Andrea Swenson, who was there. They actually sold Revolution merch along with First Avenue merch, of course. But yeah, it was a good night. And then we tried to go to Nicolette Diner after that, but it was pouring down rain. And Minneapolis, let me just go ahead and tell you, I don't know who your DOT is, who the head of DOT is, but please, for the love of God, put reflectors in the friggin' road so that you can see the lines in the middle of the road when conditions are. Oh my God. I thought for sure that you can't see whether or not you're in a lane or not, because there's no reflectors on the road so that you can see. Go ahead. Whatever you're going to say. I don't know what I'm going to say, but I was losing my mind. I'm
should drive for Uber or something. You should go to Minneapolis just to drive for Uber. Now I know you. Okay, I'm going to tell you what this experience is like, because none of you have ever been in a car with Chris driving.
I'm a good driver, but those roads are messed up, dude.
He has no problem as being a driver.
I didn't say the estate.
He was yelling at the lines in the road, not other cars. He was mad about the road being all like, I can't tell where it is. What's wrong with you lines? And it's awesome.
They said that in the Midwest, the plows in winter rip them up, but there's got to be some way they can make the stripes reflective or something. Oh my God, there's got to be something.
Oh, like I'll see you years later, just like the roads, hate the lines.
Yeah. Well, it's just it is what it is. Okay.
Shopping cart.
All right. Day three, State Theater again. Everybody's downtown. And so we go in State Theater, same exact mess with, them not letting us in the lobby. We just sit outside and wait for an hour, and then they bring you into the lobby and you think, oh, it's only 15 minutes before they open the door. And then you're there for another hour. We were there for 2 hours and 15 minutes. between outside and the lobby just to get in. And of course, I'm doing rounds, kind of going back and forth and talking to people and whatever, just trying to keep moving because my back is killing me. But you know, we're GA, so it wasn't like we didn't really need to be there. I mean, early because we're GA. It was kind of like it's not like, you know, we have like VIP and we got to get second row or whatever
Right,
it
you're
was.
not
It
gonna
was
get
just
the best spot or the front spot or anything. You're gonna end up where you end up. So
yeah.
it really wouldn't have mattered. But still,
Yeah, it's just it was just but we were there because everybody was there. So we're going there talking and hanging out and just kind of socializing and this, that, and the other. And but anyways,
no fun.
yeah, I'm not giving any more energy to anyways. So we see the concert footage, and the first concert footage that they show is the rehearsal for musicology, which was awesome because it was essentially them, Prince and the band, practicing for the musicology tour in the empty auditorium, and they were kind of acting like, you know, they were going through the motions like as if there was an audience there. And what was cool about that was that you got a little bit of insight as to his planning, because he would be moved to one of the side of the stage and he would kind of, you know, and he was like realizing that he was in the dark and he goes, "Hey, could you put notes in here to put a light right here in the rafter so that when I come over here, there's a light right here." And he's, you know, so they're going through the motions of the show. And it was just really, really cool to kind of see all that in motion and just kind of making sure that the lights are in the right spot, that everybody's doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing. And Candy Dulfer looked hot. I'll just say it.
That's why the seat in front of you started bending forward.
Yeah.
Wait, I got something for that. I'm gonna find it.
No, I wouldn't do this.
There it is.
Wake me when you're done.
That was so you. That was you were
Yeah, right. Rhonda was okay. That's enough.
every time the camera panned past, it was like, what was that noise? What are you doing? Okay, I'll stop.
Okay, we're done.
Okay.
Okay. Let's move on. And then after that was over, it was really, really cool because then they brought out Morris Day to do a panel.
Yes.
And Morris was telling some really, really cool stories. And he actually shared a story that I never heard before. It was really, really funny. Maybe other people have heard the story, but it told the story that he came into the room one night and there were flowers all over the bed. There were flowers all over the bed, and in a woman's handwriting on the mirror, it says, "I'll be back." And this was on the 1999 Triple Threat tour. So he's thinking, oh, well, you know, this, you know, Vandy's Vandy 6. That he's like trying to, like, who was in here? Oh, and so he like gets up and he dresses up in silk pajamas in order to he dresses up in silk pajamas and he's like getting all comfortable, and then there's a knock on the door and he goes over to the door and it's Prince and he's just laughing his butt off because Morris is thinking he's gonna get lucky and it was just Prince playing a practical joke on him. So it was pretty
Morris was like,
oh my god, dude.
Right. That's enough. No more.
Is it really? All right. Yeah, so it was cool. So now I've got a couple stories because then we were exited State Theater out into the block party. And it started, I can feel it like little drops and whatever. And I'm just like, Paisley Park had their setup, but the umbrella that they had on sale was $50. Like, no joke, it was $50 for an umbrella. I was like, I'm not paying $50 for an umbrella. And it was the white one with the flowers. And I was just like, I'm not walking around with that umbrella and paying $50 for the honor to do so. I'm just, yeah.
You gonna tell them what happened?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell them what happened.
Okay.
So I start to walk, and I said, "There's a Target down there, a few blocks down. So I'm just going to walk to Target, and I'm just going to get an umbrella because I can get it probably what $15 maybe at Target." So on my way to Target, I'm walking, and of course I'm dressed to the nines, and this 6'3" black guy comes up and puts his hand on my shoulder, and he's towering over me. And he goes, "Hey man, how you doing?" And he's walking with me while he has his hand on my shoulder. I'm like, "Hey, how are you?" He's like, "Hey, so I'm homeless." And then he takes his hands and he puts his hands out in front of him like that shows me that he's homeless. But he says, "I'm homeless." He goes, I really need some money." And I said, I don't really carry cash. And I said, and for some reason my dumb ass said, "I'm going to Target, maybe if I had cash on the way out after I get what I need to get."
Why?
I don't know why he said it. I was like, because I'm thinking, oh, he's gonna stay put. I'll go into Target and then I'll go out the other way, and I won't see him coming back. It's like he was like, "All right, that's cool. I'll walk with you." I'm like, "Oh no, he's gonna walk with me," and it just looked weird because I was dressed to the nines, and I've got a 6'3" black guy who's not dressed to the nines walking with me like he's like my helper or something. It's just the way that he's kind of walking behind me, and he says, "What are you here to get?" And I was like, I just need an umbrella. And I said, "Obviously I'm not going to get out of this." And he's walking around Target talking to people. "Hey, where are these umbrellas at? Hey, hey, where are these umbrellas at?" And I was like,
I need my money.
and I'm just like standing there. And so I kind of like veer off, and I'm like, this guy. And then of course I thought I got rid of him, and then he comes around the corner, and I was like, there he is. And they said, "Well, we're sold out of umbrellas." And I was like, "Okay, all right, we're sold out of umbrellas." So we had to go down, and I'm just like, I've got to shake this guy. So I go down the escalator, and I buy a pack of gum and get $10 cash back, and give it to him just so that he kind of goes on his way. And I'm just like, he was like, that was very aggressive. It was just it. The funny part about this is just the visual of me dressed up in a suit with somebody who's obviously homeless, very tall, towering above me, following me around Target, which seemed like it was about 5 to 10 minutes of this, and it just was like forever. So imagine how long 5 to 10 minutes is. Let's stay quiet for 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, right. I know, right?
5 to 10 minutes in a Target, just like walking around.
I just picture you crapping your pants and then holding
I
it
wasn't crapping my pants. I was very calm. I wasn't nervous. I wasn't, because I was just like, but I'm thinking to myself,
in. He's gonna.
why did I say I'll probably get cash on my way out?
Why would you
Why did you say that? I brought it on myself.
Yo, give me your money. I ain't got no money, but I can get some for you.
It was just too much. And then, so Target didn't have any umbrellas. I ended up walking another 2 blocks over to Walgreens, and then I come back, and as I'm coming back towards the block party, I see this man with his pants down around his knees, and he's literally pooping in the street. Not in the street, next to the bench on the sidewalk right before the block party, and just unloading right there on the sidewalk. And I'm like, and so once I finally got to Jeff, he was at this, what was that? Oh, what was the name of that Irish place?
O'Donoghue or O'Donnell.
Whatever it was, one of those places. I told Jeff what happened. He goes, "How do you experience all of this stuff within a 5-block walk?"
Right.
I am a stuff
magnet.
We were saying I am a stuff magnet for sure. So anyways, we enjoyed needless to say, we finally go back into the State Theater after we go back into the State Theater, and they have we didn't leave him out. I think oh yeah, maybe we did leave him out. Did we leave out I thought I have his picture in the mix. How does it not he has in the notes here.
Didn't
Did we
leave
leave out Billy Sparks? And we did not leave out Billy Sparks. Billy Sparks did make an appearance. Was that after? Maybe I didn't put it in the right spot. Yeah, I think that was also before. Actually, that was right. It was before the Purple Rain movie.
Right.
That he came out. So Billy Sparks actually came out, and then Billy Sparks actually sat out in the audience. My apologies, that was something we did miss. He actually sat out in the audience and watched the Purple Rain premiere with us. Sorry about that. So we had to go back and come back. These pictures are out of order, so it doesn't matter now. Sorry, all right, back to day 3. So we go back to State Theater, and this time around, it is for the Purple Rain musical panel. Now, when we announced, well, not we announced, somebody else announced it, that the Purple Rain was going to be a musical. I think everybody was like, "What now?"
Right.
And everybody kind of felt some sort of way about it. It was just like, okay, yes, this, and of course everybody thought it's like, who's going to play Prince? And it's like, well,
Yeah, it's all this negative.
Nobody's ever going to ever be Prince. You're never going to find anybody that's like Prince, or that's going to be as talented as Prince, or as good looking as Prince, or as efficient on musical.
The initial default negative, though.
So it's just because it's like
because whatever, man.
Because
Change your mindset.
horrible.
Mind.
I'm not saying I was.
No, not you specifically.
I was hesitant when I heard it. I was like, oh, okay, let's see what happens here. Let me just say that they brought out some of the artists that are going to be in this musical, and they alerted us right out of the gate. Don't judge this. This is still in the stages of putting it together. Even the people that you're seeing in cast in some of these spots may not be there by the time we get to where we're going, and the music is not where we need to go. But after seeing the panel and then them also doing a couple of excerpts from the play, I think it was I was much more relaxed understanding what it was that they were doing. And the turning point, they did a little excerpt that was the time that I wasn't sold on. I wasn't sold on Morris, the person they had playing Morris, and I wasn't. The person they had playing Jerome had too much energy, like too much energy.
Yeah, he was over dancing at times.
Yeah, he was like it was just like a hyper version of Jerome, and that's not
Jerome on.
And the person that was playing Morris, I couldn't, because of this is a band I've been following for 40 years of my life, 40, 50 years of my life, not 40, 50, but
and it's not the
it's, but you can't separate that, and so it's just like I need to at least have some, I don't mind having that disconnection, but I
feel like
I believe it. But then when they did Take Me With You, they actually they showed how they were going to dissect some of these songs, and they had this girl she had a really, really good voice, and they were doing Take Me With You, and they kind of slowed it down. So like da, 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 da. So it was just like this. It was kind of done where it was just broken down to bare bones, and they started adding more and more and more. And that actually got a standing ovation from the audience. Like, okay,
yes,
if that's what you're going to do, if that's what we can expect, if that's the quality that we can expect, that's how it's going to unfold. We're down. Thank you. Somebody says her name was Rachel. I didn't really.
Yeah, they murdered it when they did that. Like the audience went crazy.
Yeah, it was great. It was fantastic. It definitely,
Yeah, I agree. I feel like, the performance matters, but he explained that in the beginning, like you said. He said, this isn't the final. You are seeing the pre and in the process of, which is, that's a beautiful thing. That's a nice thing to be able to see. But what was necessary, and I think that kudos to doing this, was now everyone got to meet the people behind the people. So
Right.
we got to see the creators, and now you get to hear from them and find out where their heart's at and what their mindset is. And I believe that that is what will make or break anything. Of course, it's the people that build it. The performance doesn't matter, and
Right.
we realize and accept, hey, these are humans, and so we got to see the human, and that just makes it easier. And I think they should continue to do that. Those guys need to keep doing that. Make that a campaign. Go out and talk. Go out and, hey, meet me. We're the ones behind it. It was, to me, that was strong.
Yeah, I just had to take the name down. It was up there too long, but there wasn't a break in there. Rachel Webb was the name of the girl who was singing,
Mm.
so
Mhm.
she was good. And also, what was Renika Elaine Edwards says, as a musical, they will need a full catalog to build a musical full story. Now, this is the Purple Rain story, but they did say that they will be utilizing other songs from his catalog in order to sew this story together. So knowing those pieces and knowing that part of it definitely made me a lot more comfortable with what press expectations. And it's going to be out in spring of 2025. So they don't have a lot of time. That's not a lot of time to really kind of fully put this together and meld it. But it's going to be done at the State Theater in spring. I think there's already dates. Is it April? There's already dates that are set that this is going to be, since all of you are really kind of keeping track of a lot of this. If you guys let me know what the dates were, but this is in 2025, and I want to say it was April. But it's going to be great. It's going to be fantastic. Then they gave the Prince Legacy, the estate came out, Londell and Charles came out, and they gave the Prince Legacy Award to Susan Rogers. And I specifically said it that way for a reason. They gave it to Susan Rogers, who they presented to her, and they kind of obviously did all of her accolades and talked about all the work that she did on Purple Rain and Around the World in a Day, and all the work that she did with Prince, and some of the and then she came out and she accepted the award, and she did this whole speech, and she stopped in the middle of it. She goes, "Oh, by the way, it's Dr. Susan Rogers."
Brought the house down.
Place came down. Everybody just was standing up and screaming and cheering, and it was just like so funny because it was just like and I'm not exactly sure where that came from, because she wasn't Dr. Susan Rogers, back then. But if you're going to present award to her now,
you need to get her name.
It's Dr. Susan Rogers.
I mean, it was probably one of the best moments of moments for anybody anywhere. For her,
it was so
and go. And by the way, it's and you know how she talks. It's not even mean or anything. It was just like, just so you know. And yeah.
Everybody, I mean, there was people everybody was seated while
people who weren't in the theater were shouting. They didn't even know why. They could feel it in their hearts.
Yeah, it was so funny. It was hilarious. That was absolutely positively hilarious. And then of course, then they did the actual bands, and the first band that came out was a young kid that had appeared on Australia's Got Talent, like when he was 8 or 9 years old. And his talent was playing guitar, and he played Purple Rain, and you can still look it up on YouTube. It's all over YouTube. And he killed it. I mean, he literally just killed it. And I actually recognized him the day before outside of the State Theater. And that's his name in the marquee above him too. And I said, "Are you the kid?" He goes, "Yeah, from Australia." And I was like, "Yeah, that's right." And I immediately knew, because he wore the same type of hat. His look was the same, and obviously this is 5 years later, but he's pretty much the same. Now, Taj is a friggin' monster. Like, I've already said it many times. There's only been a few times that I've been gobsmacked watching somebody play guitar, because guitar is, there's really there's thousands of amazing guitarists out there in the world. Thousands and thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds, who knows? But when somebody plays guitar so proficiently and just, it's like they become one with their instrument, like even beyond, it's the first time it ever happened was when I went to go see Huey Lewis in the News, and then outwatched this guy with a cowboy hat opening up. This is 1986 or whatever sports tour was, and he comes out and he says, "My name is Stevie Ray Vaughan. This is my band Double Trouble." And that was the one time that I saw. That was one and only time I saw Stevie Ray Vaughan. And after seeing him play, I was like, "Huey who?"
Right.
I was like, "Who am I here to see now? I could probably leave right now and I'll be okay."
Yeah,
But Taj came out and he murdered it.
he murdered it.
Just
He
murdered.
was smoke was coming off his hand, his fingers. And, my fingers were starting to hurt. I was like, "Hey, slow down, dude."
But even where, towards the end of the show, where he is like playing it so hard and so fiercely that not one but two strings broke, and he is still playing this. I mean, he's compensating, and not it's unfriggin' real. I've never seen it, and that person that is photo bombing above my right shoulder is his dad. And that's Ariasia over there in the corner on the right. But yeah, his dad is over there, and I actually talked to his dad at Paisley Park, and I said, "Is there any way that we can get Taj on the show?" And he says, "Yes, absolutely." He said, "We like your show. Can you just reach out? Here's where you need to reach out to." And I said, "Dope. Let's get dope."
He did a great job.
I think I literally think if you believe in reincarnation, I mean, I don't really, but but Taj is like Stevie Ray Vaughan, like it's like he's embodies Stevie Ray Vaughan the way that he plays. It's like, oh my god, it's just like just unreal, But anyway, so Taj played, and then after Taj played, Morris Day then came out and played, and his band was NPG. So, and then of course, Tony M was there. Obviously, Morris Hayes was there. Mike Scott was there. So you have I don't know the gentleman's name that plays Jerome.
Oh yeah.
But he was there. Jerome was not there. I heard a couple people going, "Jerome." I was like, "That's not Jerome."
Right.
But anyways, he had MPG as back, and they did a very, very time heavy set. I mean, it was not time heavy; it was all time music. And every single one of the songs that was played were songs that Prince had written. And we had this discussion before, because he was like, "I don't think I've ever played Prince songs in our shows before." And and Londell actually made a comment from the stage and said, "All your songs are Prince songs," which is kind of funny, but that's not necessarily true, because
right.
on Pandemonium there was "It's Your World." There's like a few songs that are on Pandemonium that are not Prince songs that he was not involved in.
Right.
But because a majority of it was, Prince allowed them to keep the name, and that's what changed when Condensate came out. Because when Condensate came out, none of it, Prince wasn't involved in any of it, and that was one of the main reasons why Prince was like, "You can't use the name, because this is not the time is my band, it's my product playing my music, and you are cutting me out of it, and I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what the style of music is. I don't know what
Right.
I mean, I know what the style of music is, but I don't know what you're going to play. But if I don't have a hand in it, you can't call yourself the time."
Right.
You know,
Hold the brand
that's
if he doesn't know. Right. I will say, and Morris Day, thank you, because even in his interview, it felt like Morris Day. He brought his swag in it, and it was like I missed that, because it's just so much is going on, and I was really like, okay, I enjoy this, and the set that they did was like, okay, that felt more like the time when he came to Atlanta, and they performed in at the amphitheater with Stockbridge. It wasn't quite the same. Like, remember we were talking about it, was like maybe he injured himself or something, but he wasn't moving the same way.
There was no
Whatever
energy.
that was.
The energy was not there.
Yeah, it wasn't the same. And I felt so much better to see this one. And I was like, oh, thank you. Okay, there we go. So that was cool too.
Yeah. So it was
Oh,
all
but
over.
you have your nerve, Mr. Morris Day, to get the question and then say, yeah, there'll be more. Talking about he's gonna do more music. After
Oh yeah, that's a good
released
point. I
right.
forgot about that. So all right, so you guys know about sitting friggin' over here. So as you all know, Morris Day released his album Last Call, which he told he's doing a George Clinton right now. Released his album Last Call and said, "That's it, I'm done. This is my last CD, last thing of music I'm going to be doing." And then he makes the announcement during that panel that there will be more music coming.
I was like, wait, now
your CD was called Last Call. You told everybody that was going to be is just yes. I don't know. So
I was just cracking up over that. And all I could think of is I need to find and confirm that there was some article somewhere where he actually says it. Cause I'm like, did he really say it? Maybe it's the butterfly effect or whatever effect. And
no, it was the advertising. It was in the advertising. Oh, you're talking about that he said there was going to be more music, or that was his last
that he
album?
said that he's done is no more.
Oh yeah, no, it was in the advertising. That's the reason why I actually bought that CD autographed by Morris Day, because it was like, oh, this is gonna be his last one.
That's what I'm saying. Go back and look. Butterfly effect. Maybe you'll look at it and it won't be there anymore, and you'll be like, huh, I could have sworn.
No, they don't clean up their trail very well. So
his next one will be, don't call it a comeback.
So then let's see. So now we go to, and then this night, that was Saturday night. So that was a Saturday night where we went to that nice piano bar. I know. Times are changing. She was the best. That woman was the best. And then Jeff made me get up and sing
Billy Joel.
What was the song?
Only the Good Die Young?
No, was it You May Be Right? I think it was.
You May Be Right.
Yeah.
Mr. Christopher got up and performed You May Be Right by Billy Joel. Yes, he got up. He said he has chops. He's told everybody, and he went up there and did it and did his thing. And yes, there is video, but that's for him to release. I will not.
We can release it at some point, but
it was pretty good.
It was a rough start because the way she was playing it wasn't matching up with so I was like trying to figure out where she wanted me to come in.
Yeah, she made you start too, because you were like, no, and then she said, like as if you didn't know.
She kind of like she started singing it, and so I was like, okay, that's where you want me to start. Okay, so then I sang with her, and then we just kind of took it from there.
And now I'm gonna comment for you, so you don't say anything.
Okay.
He started. I'm gonna give him. This is the review. So Mr. Christopher comes out on stage, and we're like, what's going on here? She gets him started, and he starts, and he goes in, and few minutes into the song, a few seconds in, just a couple of notes, he's hitting it. Everybody in the back started going, what? Wait, what's going on here? And before he even got to the first chorus, the first hook, everybody was singing along and moving with him, because he had the energy. He was putting it out there. Like, I don't know how it translated in the video because I didn't rewatch it, but everybody in the audience was stopping their conversations and people were singing along and paying attention and doing their thing, along with it. And when you got to it and hit the hook, the whole place sang it. The whole place sang with you. And when he was done, there was the whole standing O. Everybody was like, I threw up.
Now I'm gonna have to release the video now. So
hey, I had to get you with that. No, the whole place was excited. Everybody was just roaring and screaming. So you did a good job. You did Billy Joel justice.
Well, that's good. I hope he lets me sit in for him whenever he's got a rough day.
Better though.
I just can't play piano like him, so it's all right.
Yeah, if you could have played with it, then it would have been.
All right. Yeah, I'll release the video at some point. I'll put it out. There you go. Heidi, great idea. Video for Patreon supporters. That's a great idea.
You may be right.
You may be right. So all right, let's go to day 4 now. Day 4. So day 4 is another light day, typically for GA, because we didn't have to be there until 2. Was it 2 or was it noon? I think it was
2.
I want to say it was 2. But I think it was 2, because VIP, very much like Thursday was, VIP actually had a gospel brunch. Now we weren't there, but here's what I know. I'm going to name off the people that were listed to play, and anybody that's VIP in the chat room, if you can tell me who did not show, or was it all of them? Because I didn't hear about any performances. James Greer and Company, Collide, Darnell Davis, and Remnant. Apparently, there was some artists that didn't appear or didn't come for some family emergency or whatever it was. There was something that was going on. And in its place, Londell went up and spoke to people. I wish I was there for this. But he went up and spoke to them and told them about all the things that the estate's going through right now, all the legal stuff that they're dealing with. Just kind of went out there and just really kind of had a little bit of a
heart to heart, maybe
heart of soul cleansing or something.
That's a good thing. Yeah.
I mean, it was like okay, yeah, Nikki, I can see that. Right. I'm not going to read that aloud, but yeah. So basically, he just shared a lot of information. I think there's some good in doing that for a couple of reasons. To Nikki's point, maybe the timing could have been a little bit different, but they had to fill time, and that seemed like a perfect opportunity to be able to, address the
got
folks.
All the VIPs in one place.
Right, exactly.
Where else do you do it?
Right. Well, so they did that, and they also interviewed Taj there. So they interviewed Taj. They had the gospel brunch. What did you guys get fed at the gospel brunch? When we did the gospel brunch last year at VIP, it was really nice. I mean, they had a buffet, and it was just, the spread was just incredible. It was really, really good. I hope you guys got a really good meal. Because that was, anyways. Yeah, Achilles says, what did he say? I don't remember. We weren't there, so I don't know. We were GA.
Right. But we do know that he did address a lot of the the back and forth, people not understanding with, there's legal things and there's reasons that certain things aren't happening while everybody's waiting for it and getting upset. Things take time, and he went into some things like that. So, I feel like that, like you said, maybe when could be an issue, but it is necessary, because that's what most people want. If you don't hear anything, then you start making up things in your mind. And now this becomes a problem. But if they come out and actually speak like that every so often, and hey, this is where we are, or calm down, or mind your business, you don't need to know this part yet, whatever the message is, I think it's still necessary. So
yeah. Now, Christina, you said something, and I'd like to address this too. Christina said, I like the food, but it was my first celebration. Let me just say this really quick. For those who attended the celebration and it was your first celebration, you probably had a great time.
Absolutely.
You probably had a great time. Everything was going, you enjoyed the time with Purple Fam, and you're like, you didn't, there's nothing else for you to compare it to. So I think there's that element of there's nothing else to compare this to. So I think you have that. And so so anything that we say that may, you may take as a negative reaction, we haven't really said anything negative. It's just,
what happened,
challenges that happened. Yeah. But what I will say is that, your first celebration is always your best celebration, because it's just so much fun, and you're like, oh my God, there are other Prince fans that are out here in the world.
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun to hang out, and you're just like, it is what it is. But
everyone's family everywhere you go. What's better than that? How do you?
Yeah, and so, and I see some people telling some of the things that he was talking about, and I think they did communicate this too. So they were talking about the music. Some of the things that Londell was talking about, that there's some NDAs and covenants that they're working through, some restrictive stuff they're going through.
See that.
There's a lot of people that have other parties that have their hands in the music, and so they can't just release music like we want it.
Yes,
Because there's like a whole bunch of things that has to be gone through. There's a whole bunch of clearances that have to be retrieved, and it's and the way that things just kind of panned out the way they panned out, it's very, very messy situation.
Yeah, it's not like sitting at home in a studio and then just uploading it to your aggregator. There's a lot more to this.
Right. Yeah. It's there's a lot of stuff going on. For sure. And I think he was addressing that. Yeah, he did. He addressed it. So there was that. And again, I don't know which artist was that did not, who appeared and who did not appear, because
someone said it was the first artist that didn't show up.
James Greer and Company.
So if James Greer and Company was supposed to be first, I'm guessing that's what they meant.
Okay.
That's the right order.
And of course, they also had a panel conversation under the tent with Susan Rogers. So Susan Rogers came out and they did a panel conversation with her.
Dr. Susan Rogers.
Dr. Susan Rogers, correct. Then GA got there too, and all that stuff was done with VIP, and they had more music out in the tent that was out in the big yard outside of Paisley Park, which was School of Rock, Taj Farrant, Alan McIntosh, Nick Church, and Tracy Blake. I don't remember seeing Tracy Blake perform. What did I say?
Yeah, Ali. No, I'm sorry. You go.
So I don't remember seeing Tracy Blake perform, but you said you talked to Tracy Blake because he had mentioned that of the review that I had done a Purple Experience, because he plays with Purple Experience. And so he knew, familiar with the review or whatever.
Yeah. So yeah, he didn't
go on doing a solo performance.
Right, that didn't happen.
But we were in and out of meetings that day, so it was kind of yeah. So there was a bunch of stuff that happened that
Tracy Blake played. Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know.
Well, no, it wasn't that day. It was the next day that we were kind of tied up and stuff. Then, all right, so let's go to the final day. The final day, day 5. Day 5 is the final day, and we just got to experience like a lot of cool places. Just to kind of backtrack 2 days, we also had lunch at this the other place that was right down the street from State Theater, which was a Mackenzie's, which was an Irish pub, but they did not know that they were going to get hammered. They had minimal staff
ready.
They were not ready. They had minimal staff, and they just did not. I don't think they even knew the Prince Celebration thing was going on.
Within 10 minutes of us walking in and sitting down, anyone that came after that, the first thing they're telling them is it's going to be 45 minutes or an hour or some crazy number. And we're like, there ain't that many people here. They were not ready at all.
It's the
food.
Anyways, it was interesting because what was cool about it, I would love to check out this place when they weren't in such a harried position. I would go back too, because the food was good, even though we waited about an hour for it.
Yeah, big time.
But the other cool thing about it was that I said, "Do you have Coke or Pepsi products?" And she said, "Neither. We have a local soda company." What was the name of Shamrock? I think it was the name of them. I think it was Shamrock. I think now that I'm thinking of it.
I don't remember.
I want to say it was a local soda company in Minneapolis or in Minnesota called Shamrock or something like that. I want to say that what it is Shamrock, and they make their own soda. They have their own. So it was just like, all right, I'll try it. No, it wasn't Shasta. It was something. It was some independent person. Anyways, there was a really small soda company that is somewhere in Minneapolis or around Minneapolis, and that's all they have. They don't have Coke or Pepsi. They just have that product. And anyways, it was really, really cool. And then on top of that, we're flipping through. She goes, do we have a selection of cocktails here? And here are THC cocktails. And we're like, wait, what? She goes, they had a whole selection of THC cocktails. And she goes, and if you like, when you leave, if you would like to have some edibles to go, there's a section of edibles. And I'm like,
I was like, what? Oh, I can tell you all about the edibles, whatever you want to know. And I was like, I'm sure you can. I was not really to do edibles and then go back.
Yeah, we
I haven't done that. I don't do that stuff anyway. So I'm not going to experiment from my first time.
Yeah, it was just too much. It was just like,
no.
While it would be a lot of fun if I didn't have any responsibilities,
maybe,
or like, the second I walk out of here, between here and State Theater, I'm going to have 20 people that are going to want to talk to me and have discussions. And I do not want to be high as a kite. So I don't.
I was like, nah. You know what? We left out something.
No, it's not St. Croix. It's not like a major. Everybody keeps throwing names out of thing, but it was like something. It was something like Shamrock or something.
It was something like Shamrock. It was an Irish name, I think. It was something specific. I wish I could remember, but it actually was pretty not bad.
Yeah, it was.
I was like, oh, okay. I don't usually drink soda, and I had them refill. I was like, I'll have more. So it was pretty good.
It is called Shamrock.
Oh, okay.
Well, no, it says Shamrock's Minnesota beverage, right? So I just somebody said Minnesota, Minnesota SODA, but it's owned by a company called Shamrock. So Heidi, you are right with the Minnesota made by Shamrock Group, yeah. But she said it was just she didn't say Minnesota, she just said Shamrock, or maybe she said Shamrock, Minnesota, and was like,
I liked it.
It was good. It was good. It wasn't too sweet. It wasn't too much carbonation. It was
wasn't just syrup. It was the right balance. I don't know.
So the name of the restaurant is called Mackenzie's, and it's right down the street from the State Theater in downtown Minneapolis. So if you're in downtown Minneapolis, hit Lumi and hit Mackenzie's, as long as it's not busy or whatever. But just it was really, and what was really cool is we walked into the Mackenzie's, and when we walked in, we hear cello. Yeah, and I was like, what a weird selection
around, like, what is
to be playing, because it wasn't like any type of Irish jig going on. It was like, just like regular cello music. And I was like, man, that really sounds live.
It did.
I'm looking around and I didn't see anything. I'm just like, this is a really weird Spotify channel or something.
Wow.
And then we went to the restroom and I came back out, and then I sat down at the table and I looked up, and there's a guy playing a cello on the balcony. There's nobody else up there. It's just him sitting with his cello playing. That he was playing the music for the rest. It was weird. It was just like, okay, this is all right. There you go. Cool. Thank you, Thomas. Thomas, MackenziePub.com. Yes, I wish that Lumi would give us a gift card. I absolutely positively. I gave him a 5-star review.
Oh yeah,
it was fantastic. It was.
They were fantastic. Absolutely, it was good enough for us to go back.
Yeah, we did. We went to Lumi twice. We would have gone 3 times, but it was.
We would have.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So, anyways,
we skipped something, and I feel like we should go back when the MPG did their performance.
Yeah. Well, Morris Day came out with MPG behind him, and then Morris left, and they took like a little bit of like a 10-minute break, and then MPG played.
MPG did their thing, and we had a nice visit by LaToya Gaines, Rosie's daughter.
That's right.
Up there and killed it. They did what was called The Law. There were three different songs she came out for, I guess. I don't remember which ones.
Yeah, I don't remember the specific. Yeah, but so Rosie Gaines' daughter LaToya came out and did. Yeah, it was great because she came out, and a lot of people knew who she was, and some people didn't know who she was.
It was awesome.
But
she sounded tremendous. Like, she killed it. She was just like, sounds like Rosie. You know what I mean? Like,
Fish said, "Get off." Yep.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, there's so much to cover here, and I knew I was going to miss, but I kind of made this long list, and
it's all right.
Yeah, it's all right. I'm just trying to go through it all because there's a lot that happened.
Yeah,
and it just goes to further strengthen what I said, before we started. It's like yes, it's $750 if you win GA is a lot of money, but the
Going on.
what you get for it as far as like all the performances and all the shows, and yes, I understand there is flights and hotels and car rentals and things like that and eating out and all that has to come in with it, but again, I mean, if this is in your town, you are a winner. Because you don't have to pay for anything. He's like, all right, I'm going home. It's a whole different ball game, but it's fantastic. And since we're doing shout outs for places to eat, Dorothy Inez took us to a place on day 5.
Yes.
This little place called Hope Breakfast Bar.
Yes.
Now let me tell you about this Hope Breakfast Bar. First off, they actually have breakfast shots in the morning too, like actually with liquor in them. And it was like, who is drinking first thing in the morning? But they have like this amazing coffee bar scenario, and their breakfasts, man. They have breakfasts that are just incredible. They have like this is what I had. I had the chicken and waffles. They had a southern fried chicken and waffles. They had a spicy chicken and waffles. They had like all this stuff, and of course, they actually have Prince artwork on the wall too. So it was pretty friggin' awesome. But yeah, it is called the Hope Breakfast Bar, and it's in Edina, I think, Edina, Edina, and yes, they have wake up shots. I don't know. Alcohol does the exact opposite. I wouldn't suggest doing this before you go to work if you happen to live in the area, but the menu was amazing. It was just, I mean, it was really, really cool. It wasn't the standard, mocha, this or whatever. Because even if you look at the menu, they have like the Paul Bunyan latte, which has espresso, maple syrup, cracked pepper, and milk. I don't even know what that even is. So like some of these things are just insane combinations. They have a latte called banana bread latte, which is banana syrup, espresso, and banana bread spice. It's just these restaurants that kind of go above and beyond. I will say this is the first time that I went to Minneapolis and tried these other different restaurants and did not hit a bad restaurant the whole time I was there
at all.
And when I left, before I went to the airport, I stopped at Gina Maria's and got a small pizza. I messed up and didn't get the New York version. I got the New York style. I got the thin crust, and it was still really good too. So yeah, I don't know.
And if you guys notice when he was showing the pictures from the Hope breakfast, they do have a pretty good size picture of Prince.
Yeah, it was right there.
See that? So yeah.
Yep.
It's a nice shot too. It's good stuff. I like that place.
Yeah, it was really cool. Yeah. And Michelle says Fat Nats is good. OPH. Well, let me just say we did OPH. We did it once. We did the Original Pancake House is the stop. Like that has to be a breakfast spot, like right out of the gate. And then we did Perkins and other ones. So I think the breakfast places that we did with Original Pancake House, Perkins, which it's almost like a staple. You kind of almost have to do that. Only because we couldn't get to Original Pancake House that one day. And then Hope Breakfast Bar. There's so many great places in Minneapolis.
In Chiaria, we did not get the Juicy Lucy this time, but we did finally have them when we went out for the bowling event. Right? Didn't we go there for the bowling event? One of the events we did, we went to the Juicy Lucy and went and got Juicy Lucy.
Yeah, but the place wasn't called Juicy Lucy. It was in Mall of America.
The sandwich. I mean, the burger.
It's called and for those who don't know, Juicy Lucy is basically a burger that has cheese inside of it. So all of a sudden, this has become a food show.
We're on the food section right now.
I know, but I had to share with the experiences and whatnot. All right, so let's go to day 5. Now I want to talk about this. And I've seen a lot of people say, you're going to talk about this, you're going to talk about this. Let's talk about the tours for a second. Because day 5 is when GA got their tour, our tour. And it was a walkthrough tour. Mm-hmm. It is a very, very limited tour for sure, because you're only really in one studio when you do the walkthrough tour. but they have this really, really cool interactive table, this really massive interactive table, which got a bunch of like floating Polaroids and clips and stuff that are floating on the board. And you can take a picture and drag it onto the circle and it pops up the picture with the story. Or if it's an article, it will show you the article. There's a couple of them where you have to take a quiz in order to get there's like a secret video. And if you take the quiz and you answer like 5 questions correctly, then it gives you, it shows you this video. And it's not like it didn't have any sound. It was just an old recording of them practicing back in, I guess, early 1982 or 81 or whatever. And the resolution was not great, but still it was the interactive part of it was just awesome.
That really is.
But that was one of the things that I did hear a lot of VIP people have an issue with, was I guess because of the timing of it and the way that it didn't work. All the VIPs, I didn't hear anybody. Unfortunately, I did not hear anybody from the VIP side said that they loved the tour and they had a great tour. Or maybe they didn't say anything. I mean, the only time you're going to say something is when it's not good.
Right.
But the VIP tours are supposed to be like the ultimate version of the tour, which is like 2.5 hours, 3 hours long, where you hear tracks that people have never heard before. You get to see, you get really in-depth tour of like the different studios. There's like a bunch of things that you get for it, and it did not happen. A lot of people said the tour only lasted for 30 minutes. Everybody felt rushed through. They were just like trying to pushing people through to kind of get through all the people. And again, I don't know what to tell you, because I'm not sure how that all shakes out sometimes. About who goes where and what the situation is. There's always something to the stories, but I heard that was the number one thing that I heard the most complaints about was the tour.
The tour was rushed. They didn't get to absorb anything or feel anything. Now, I will say this, for those of you who did not know or think about it, maybe everybody knew, but it was cool for me. And that interactive board next to that was the motorcycle. And Christopher walked over and I said, "Hey, Chris." And I was sitting on the bike and he saw me sitting on the bike and was like, and froze like, "You about to get thrown out of this."
You're gonna get us thrown out of here. You need to get off of that.
I sat on the bike. So when the tour guide, we didn't have a tour guide, but of course there's going to be someone in each room. I asked her. I looked at the bike and I said, "Can I touch it? Can I sit on it?" And she said, "You certainly can." Well, I'm going to sit on the motorcycle. So if you did not know, then now could have sat on the bike. Not
but
that
here's the thing.
Picture as a memento or anything, but you could have.
Right.
Many knew.
That was a big thing, is that VIP came with normally used to come with pictures. So you would get like a picture against, a picture on the mural, whatever. But if you got to sit on the motorcycle, it would have been cool to actually have, even if it was somebody else that was taking a picture, since your phones were locked up.
Yeah, take a picture for us and you can get them outside. That would have been cool.
Or something, right? That just seemed like,
Yeah.
So you could, and again, there's other people that didn't even know that you could sit on the bike. It was just like, there's been plenty of times where there's been bikes out there. There's just like, you touch them and it's like, put your hands in your pockets. Like, yeah, okay.
Nobody move. That's why I'm telling you, you could sit on that bike, and I did sit on it. And
yeah, I mean, it was a replica of the bike, right. But it's not. I mean, obviously, it wouldn't have been the real thing, because before they had a specific Purple Rain room, and they kind of did this time too, where they're actually showing videos of the premiere. And we got to, you get to see everybody arriving at the premiere, and Wendy and Lisa and Pee Wee Herman, and
that was cool to watch.
John Cougar Mellencamp. You just sit and just kind of watch all that stuff, and so there was a lot of good stuff. But yeah, the main primary thing that we heard from VIP was that they kind of really, really felt rushed. But again, I'm not trying to ruin this for people who were there for the first time, because maybe they felt like it was enough. But there are a very extensive tour that happens at Paisley Park, a very extensive tour that is really, really cool. You get to sit in the video editing room, and they'll actually show you video of past performances. You get to sit in in one of the studios, and they'll play you different mixes where all of the instrumentation is all stripped out, and you just get to hear just Prince's vocal track on a song. Like little things like that, like little pieces like that really kind of set it apart.
Right.
So it's pretty freaking amazing.
It's worthwhile tour for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So the other part of this too, and we've heard this a lot. The other things that people had said. Let's finish up this day here first, and then we'll talk about the he said, she said, what's what. Then after we got done doing the walkthrough of Paisley Park, you can, for us, we just kind of walked in, and we could stay as long as we wanted in any of the rooms. Your phone had to stay locked up the whole time. But then, once you were done, you just came out. Yeah, and then there was concerts inside of Paisley Park. Now they did actually have a guided walkthrough of Paisley Park. Or somebody was going to walk you through, because when we first got there,
it was going on.
They were lining up, and he says, "Are you here for the tour and guided tour?" And was like, "I didn't know there was a guided tour. I thought it was just a walkthrough." But we wanted to see Liv, because Liv Warfield was playing inside Paisley Park, not outside, inside of Paisley Park from 12. It was like 12 to 12:30, and then also 5 to 5:30. And I had to do the 12 because, me being the person that I am, we're freaking out about being late. My flight was at 8:00 at night, so I was like, I'll just do the 12. So we got to see Liv Warfield perform, and she killed it. Oh my god,
murdered it.
Let me just say, I have like a few videos of Liv performing, and it was just it was incredible. And she had a 3-piece band backing her up. She had Sonny T on bass, as you can see. Mike Scott was on guitar, and Commodore was on drums. And what's awesome about it is that it's just, it was just fantastic. And the one song that she did that really, really blew me away, I did not record, which was The Unexpected. All the songs blew me away, but I loved the vibe that she had on The Unexpected. But luckily, there was a bunch of other people that recorded it, and I've seen it on Facebook. But
yeah, she
Liv,
so much fire, so much energy. You could not be in that room and not be in that room.
Yeah, it was just,
she was amazing, as expected. That's Liv.
Yeah, Liv killed it. And then, of course, you have Jordan Johnston also played as well. It was also supposed to be Lamore and Taj Farrant playing. They actually, didn't they play outside? Oh yeah, they did play outside on that last day. Yeah, so Taj Farrant and Lamore played outside in the tent. But that's where we were in meetings and stuff, and we couldn't do stuff.
Right.
But we know they played, and I heard Taj the whole time. So I was like, this is great. I'd like to see Taj. That's okay. And then, of course, the final thing to talk about that day on day 5 is the Lake Minnetonka boat ride. We did not do that. I've heard lots of things about it. It's a lot of fun. It's an iconic place to be, as it's definitely an iconic part of the movie. Well, the lake that they did Purple Rain that's not Lake Minnetonka.
Yeah, right.
It's not Lake Minnetonka. So anyways, that is in Henderson, Minnesota, which is so a lot of the stuff going down the road when he was riding on the bike and everything, that's all recorded out towards Henderson, which is a really cool little town. It was a cooler town when they had the Prince store that was there, that a bunch of independent artists took over this antique shop, and it used to be an old bank, and in that bank vault there was, and they may still sell stuff there, but it was an old bank vault, and there was all these independent artists had created, Christmas ornaments and scarves and hats and jackets and this and that and the other, and they would all be for sale inside this bank vault. And and the antique store was really, really cool. I mean, and that's a little town in Henderson, but there's not really much to see there anymore because they also had the Prince mural that was there, and they had the bench that was made and the bronze statue that was made. But that's kind of, I think Henderson was just like, okay, we're done. There's too many people coming in this town, and we don't, I guess just they just want to stay a small town. And they're just like, all right, too many people, goodbye now. And they moved it someplace else, and now it's so anyway, all that being said,
Yeah. And while that boat ride was going on, I'm not sure again how the schedule is, but I think that's partly when Jordan Johnston came out and performed at some point, and that's also when Tracy Blake came. I think was because Tracy played on the inside.
okay,
So, and Jordan Johnston did a really good job.
Yeah.
Now, for those who are thinking who's that, if you were at the block party, he performed at the block party as well, and he did his thing up there, and I feel like he had much more energy or something. Some vibe was different in Paisley Park because he brought it a lot harder. It felt more like that in Paisley Park. He killed it. He did a really good job. That's how I feel. And
well, what's really kind of cool is that I'm seeing all these comments about the boat ride, and everybody said it was just mostly it was just it's a boat. It's a boat on water. There's obviously special things about being in a location that this is about
water.
sitting on a boat. No, but I think it's the whole the shtick of it, and just maybe getting
This is where she landed.
Purified in Lake Minnetonka. It's like
they should just let everybody jump.
It's right.
Take off your clothes.
Apollonia's breasts were in this water.
Just get a straw, take a sip.
It's all good. It's purified.
Get on the boat.
Yeah, it's not a boat that you ride, right? Anyways, yeah, it was I didn't hear any negatives about it. It just seemed like it kind of just went in, out. So it's fine. It's fine. It was good. And I didn't hear anybody say anything negative about it at all.
I didn't hear
everybody that came back from it seemed to be kind of chill.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, that's good. That's a good way to wind down.
I agree.
For sure. But so all that being said, that was celebration. We went through all the days, and I know there was a lot of feedback and a lot of chatter going back and forth, from all of you about various things that people weren't happy about, things that people liked. But the amount of stuff that we just did, the amount of stuff that we just went through, was pretty extensive. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on, and that's what I'm doing, Jeff. He types it into time for final thoughts.
Final thoughts.
We're doing final thoughts right now.
No, you're doing final thoughts.
I am doing final thoughts.
I'm doing final thoughts too.
Yeah. So the COVID part of this, I'm sorry. I hate that people got it. I mean, I felt like my throat was bothering me, but I thought that it's just because you're just talking all the time. Because nothing else, I didn't have anything else other than just because every time I called my wife, she was just like, "You sound horrible." I was like, "Thank you." So because it's just talking and talking and talking and talking and talking, and it was just like just talking with so many people. But I felt great the whole entire time and didn't have any temperature the whole entire time. But apparently, COVID was present for a lot of people. So I hate that. But my final thoughts are here. Jeff, you want to give your final thoughts first, or you want me to do it?
My final thoughts are here, Jeff. So, I will say that overall, like I started to say in the pre-show, that the actual content that was put out there for this whole series, I had a great time. I think it was great when things got rolling, and it was just excellent to see the things that I got to see and speak to the people I got to speak to. Um, the execution, some of the other stuff behind the scenes leading up to shows and getting prepared, you got to keep in mind that the biggest complaint last year and the year before was we need to do something different. We need to bring in more of the city because everyone's doing all these different things. Well, clearly they listened. They said, okay, let's do that. So more of the city was brought in. So I feel like at some point, when do you go, okay, they're doing more? And you just got to kind of think there's going to be bumps. And yeah, we've had years of doing it and years of this and years of that, but they did change things. So you got to expect a lot of problems or surprises. Now, yeah, could they have been handled differently or more quickly? Whatever, that's a possibility. Overall, I think it was an excellent time. I had an excellent time. Um, and, you know, to me, it's about seeing everyone, getting together with people, enjoying whatever the content was with other people, family, going anywhere in the city and running into somebody that's here for the same reason you were there. And so I was thoroughly happy with it. I think that's just how you should consider it. And the bumps and the bruises, maybe at some point they'll figure out a solid thing, but there's no such thing as a cookie cutter with these kind of things because there was no such thing as a cookie cutter with Prince's music. So just expect stuff to happen every year and get over it. Enjoy each other and focus on enjoying when the content is happening. I just don't want to stand in line for 6 hours and my feet hurt. But that's my final thoughts.
Yay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so here's my final thoughts because again, it's kind of really perspective because I see both sides of what the estate in Paisley Park has to deal with and what the fans' expectations are, and just kind of really still trying to wrap my head around how much work it takes in order to put a lot of this stuff together. The one thing I want to address before I wrap this up is that I did see a lot of people say, well, where was Apollonia? Where was Jerome? Where was this, that, and the other?
Where's my
Uh,
gift?
and let me just say, obviously, we talk and know a lot of people and whatnot. I will tell you that they were invited, but they didn't come. So you can see with what you want. It wasn't for a lack of invitation. Let's just say that. So it wasn't for any lack of, the estate or Paisley Park or anybody wanting to cut anybody out. That's not absolutely positively not what happened. They invited a lot of people and there were some people that declined. So, Elena, that's not true. So, and I obviously don't have, well, from what we were told, there's not receipts. So that being said, you hear both stories. According to where we heard, there was a lot of people that were invited. So let's just go ahead and just wrap it up with the final thoughts.
Say that again.
I'll just go ahead and wrap with my final thought.
Please do. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I think the celebration is always a great time, especially if you've never been, because to be in the presence of that many people that are also really hardcore, deep Prince fans, like that are really deep Prince fans. You just don't really, it's so difficult to find people that really appreciate Prince like we do. It's so difficult to find those types of people. And to be in an entire, to be in a place for 5 days where there's so many people and they're all huge fans, or fam, is just, it's refreshing because you get to hear so many different stories, and everybody has different stories, and it's a lot of fun. And the shows are good. Maybe some of the, like Jeff was saying, some of the execution could have been done a little bit better, but not all of that is, some of that's on State Theater, some of that's on just the volume of people descending on one location at one time. There's lots of challenges when you have this many people that are coming into a town to attend an event. And it's just First Avenue handled themselves fine. It was exactly what I expected of First Avenue, because First Avenue does concerts all the friggin' time. That's all that they do. So they have so it was a great time, and there's a lot of great stuff. There's a lot of great content. I know that some VIP people did not feel like, some people felt like the value wasn't there. And if you didn't, that's a call that you make every year. It's also a gamble that you take every year too, because if you don't go and then something amazing happens to VIP, then you're just like, dang, I wish I would have done VIP. But if you do go and you don't, it doesn't meet up to your expectations, you're just going to be, you're going to feel let down. I will tell you that going as GA, I had a fantastic time. I mean, there was some things that VIP got to do that I wish that I would have got to do. I don't know that I would have felt. I don't know how I would have felt, but I had a great time. I got to hang out with a lot of people and see a lot of things, and as a majority of the stuff that we got to see, I felt like was well worth it. Because as I said at the very beginning, if you weren't tuned in, I paid about that money for the Rolling Stones ticket to see one show for 2 hours in Atlanta, and that was it. And for the same amount of money, around the same amount of money, I got 5 days of entertainment. Yes, I had to fly out there. Yes, I had car rentals. Yes, I had hotels. But if I lived there, that wouldn't have been an issue. It's not about that cost of it. We're talking about the cost of what it cost to do this event, not the other stuff. There's ways around saving money for a variety of different things that you can, right. You could find somebody, you could pair up with somebody and go do, all put in for an Airbnb, or, you can figure out Jeff and I could have done a car rental, could have done one car rental.
Right, we could have.
Because the majority of the time that we were riding together for every place that we went. So we could have, split the cost of that. There's ways around to kind of get things done. But overall, for what they charge for their event, regardless of where you live or how you get there, I think it was great. I think it was a good time. So many great events, so much good music. And I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to be able to do next year. This year, had the iconic 40-year celebration of Purple Rain. Next year, around the same time, there's really not much going on other than the 40-year anniversary of Around the World in a Day, which was the album that followed this. But I don't know that you're not going to be able to build something out around that. You might be able to do it around Under the Cherry Moon / Parade. But there's there's definitely something there for sure. Start planning that now. But I think they do the best with what they have, and I think they build a lot. They do their best to build as much value in it as you possibly can. But I've said it before, when I go into a place, I'm always doing numbers in my head. And Jeff, I was doing that the whole time I was there. I was like, I wonder how much this tent cost just to have this tent here for 5 days. That restroom that's outside of the tent here, that's like one of these, it's not like a porta potty. This is like an official restroom with stairs, a sink, and air conditioning and everything in it. That's going to cost about $5,000 to have here for 5 days. It's like you're trying to do numbers in your head and going, there's a lot of money that has to be spent. All the staff that you're looking and seeing, the bands get paid. Those bands that are there are getting paid to be there. I'm not saying that they're not making money. I'm just saying that this not like one of these hand over fist things. I think that they do try to build as much value as they possibly can into the event. So, you know, it was a great event, and I loved hanging out. I will, I'm pretty sure I speak for myself and also Jeff Paige. I loved hanging out with all you folks and meeting so many of you. Just, I just, it's just, it's a good time. It's just a really, really good time, and it's always good to be around Purple Fam for sure, because there's not a lot of us out there, but it's always nice when we can pull us all together in one location. It is the bomb for sure. So
Yeah, I agree.
And I wish I could address everything that I'm seeing scroll by, regarding stuff about, who was invited and who wasn't. Everybody that was invited was offered money.
Yeah.
There was nobody that said, "Hey, come for free." None of that ever happened. Just so we're clear.
And let me steer off, since you guys all have an idea, our final thoughts, and that's where we are. But I will say that the city has so much more to offer for those
Mhm.
of you that had extra time, and wisely you should consider taking advantage of it even more. I was really pleased with Dorothy Inez. Again, she had made another recommendation, and I stayed an extra day, so the event was over and I was still there on Tuesday before getting on my flight in the evening. And I went to the Normandale Japanese Garden. It's a Zen garden, and that was pretty nice. And I feel like that was an awesome way to wrap up the week, the Purple Week, and all that activity, to go into a Zen garden and ground and just take it in. And that's something to consider. Other things you can do, like there's the Museum of Illusions, I think it was, or what is it? Um, I think that was it. But there were lots of things. The Zen garden is somewhere I would actually visit again, because it was cool. I just chilled and breathe and relax and took my shoes off and grounded and just like, I'm done.
Yeah, and there's so many cool things that I saw people mentioning.
Mhm.
Obviously, the Minnesota Music Museum is there too.
Yeah.
You've got the Mill City Museum, the Arboretum. Um, that was Arlene that
The
said,
Shine Sanctuary.
yeah,
Dorothy
yeah,
Inez has, her own thing there. And if you do have an opportunity, go spend some time and get centered with her. I promise you, you will walk out of there a different person. So, I mean, just, man, do it.
yeah. We actually went there and took advantage of some things some there at Dorothy Inez's Shine Center. So
Yeah.
we'll share that video because it's really, really cool to kind of see her space, and
Yeah.
she just kind of just vibes out with you. It's really, really cool. Bunkers, obviously Bunkers was cool. Oh, we didn't mention Bunkers. Oh man, we also went to Bunkers too and saw Dr. Mambo's combo.
Yes.
That was a blast. Sunny T and Dr. Mambo's combo. Not just Sunny T, but also Margie Cox.
Margie
Also,
Cox.
Margie Cox was there. She did a lot of work with Prince back in the day, and she was also the lead singer of that band, Tamara and the Scene. She was. It's just amazing. There's so much stuff going on there. It's such a cool area, and not incredibly fun in the winter, but but man, spring, summer, and fall, it's just
Yeah.
man.
Michelle, it's called the Shine Collective. I think is the actual name of the studio. But I'm sure Dorothy Inez can put that in there as well. But yeah, the Shine Sanctuary and the Shine Collective. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, and there's look at all these places, the Como Conservatory. All these people are naming all these
I
places.
love this. This
See,
this is the thing that we have opportunities to find out while we're all together. People have knowledge of stuff, and so maybe next time, pre leaving the day before, whenever we happen to have our show, based on when people are going to go there, we have people list off some places to go. Maybe we
But
add that.
this year seemed really, really thin on that.
Yeah.
There was always a lot of external things going on before. It's like there's always like multiple events outside of the time window where you had to go, where do I go? Do I go to this one? Do I go to that one? Which one do I go to? Oh my God, there's so many. But yeah, it's I would agree. Thomas says they need an app, which would be really, really cool. We do have a site. We did have a site, printcelebration.com. Which is forwards over to Celebration Trip. You go to celebrationtrip.com. At celebrationtrip.com, they have a pretty cool site there where we have a map that kind of has all the Prince places all over, and it kind of shows you everything that's going on in and around the town during that time. And Bonnie Freshour actually works through all that stuff, and she kind of uses it and puts all the information up there too. So I mean, a lot of people were using that site. We saw a lot of traffic there. Parkway Theater. Oh my gosh, there's so many different things going on. Cool. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed our recap of the celebration. I hope you will consider going, because yes, it is. It's not incredibly cheap. I mean, we get that. So just go ahead and start planning now. Start putting aside money now. Start putting aside $50 or $100 a month, or figure whatever you get, like your taxes, but whatever you do, just put it aside and get ready. Just put it aside and get ready.
Just know it's good.
Yes, just know that, because it's most likely going to happen. And if they don't do it next year, not even better. That's going to suck. But even better is that you have that money saved up and you can continue saving, and then you can,
just because it's not going away. So.
Right.
Get ready.
There you go. All right. I hope you guys had a fun time. We had so many. This has been a very, very busy week and busy month. This month alone has been insane with the amount of shows that we've done in June. It was pretty intense. And between the Andrea Swenson and Dwayne Tudall, and then we did the Purple Rain special, and then of course we had the celebration. We just kind of keep on moving. Just keep on moving. I hope you guys had a great time, and if you have any other questions, feel free to email us, funkatopia@gmail.com, funkatopia@gmail.com. Send stuff to funkatopia@gmail.com, and try to make sure that we see it.
Don't forget to support us.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, definitely support us on Patreon, patreon.com/funkatopia, patreon.com/funkatopia. And if you can just prefer to do one-time donations, that's awesome too. Cash App, $Funkatopia, or Venmo @Funkatopia. Remember, there's an A in the middle, FUNKATOPIA.
I put it on pretty good authority that it's very possible that there will be a leaked video of Mr. Christopher performing to Patreon subscribers. I'm just saying, it's rumors and conjecture.
I have not seen the video. It was sent to me, and I did not sit down and watch it. But it's me doing a Billy Joel song.
Edit a little bit, shorten it, put a little piece out there. It'd be nice.
Get some rest, guys. Maybe we'll see you next week. We're probably going to take next week off since it's been crazy and we need to kind of recharge. But who knows? Sometimes somebody that I've been trying to reach out and get on the show for forever says, I can only do next Tuesday. Then that's sometimes how it happens. But for right now, I hope you guys had a fantastic time. Thank you guys for tuning in, because it was a long broadcast. That was almost 3 hours. That's ridiculous. We started early and it was almost 3 hours. That doesn't make any sense. See, good night. I hope you guys had a fun time. I'm Mr. Christopher. This is Jeff Paige. We'll see you soon. Adios, amigos y amigas.
How about this? Prince posthumously is getting a star on Hollywood's Walk of Fame next year. Yesterday was the 40th anniversary of the release of his Purple Rain album, June 25th, 1984. A date's not yet been set for Prince's star ceremony, but people also getting stars include actress Jane Fonda, Bill Nye the Science Guy, and soccer star David Beckham.